See, I don't see me on Facebook yet. There we go. All right. Um, there we go. I'm David, and in my ear, and maybe Jarvis, you'll have to talk from time to time. We'll just call him Jarvis, and his name's Brandon, but we'll call him Jarvis. And we haven't done this in a long, long time in a regular streaming sort of way. So at this point, I hope you can hear me. If you can hear me, maybe tell me on my Facebook page or YouTube or something else. And Jarvis, as we go through this, we'll have to get into the YouTube page too, so I can get and take some questions. But anyway, thank you for joining us tonight for what we appropriately called Snowmageddon, sort of. What do we call it? Snowpocalypse. I'm sorry, we thumbnailed it Snowpocalypse, a little bit in jest. Although, look across the top. I feel like some of the Brady people here. We got 4 people who are out there. We've actually got a bunch, and we'll be looking at their videos one by one here individually as we go through this. We're going to do this for a while. I had a Pepsi earlier, and so I think I can stay up for a little bit past my bedtime. And I'm looking at this and talking about this in a way that I don't want to be, I don't want to make fun of anything at all, because it is what it is. Back to the West. But I'm talking about this in Birmingham, in Central Alabama, and on my Facebook, for all my Facebook friends that are out there. And I've chosen you and whittled you down to 5,000 people in my Facebook page. So it's not like I'm out there and trying to tout this. It's not, no money's being made here. This is truly a love from Jarvis and myself, because we do both love the weather, actually. And so we're doing this in the name of LSM Live Storms Media. And so I just want to get you up to date on where we are with that. If you got questions, surely you got questions. I got questions. But we've been talking about this forever. We've been talking about this now for, about a week and a half it started showing up. And the social media was just going nuts at the time about how the first one, what happened a week ago, was going to be the really, really big deal. And remember all the social media about the huge Arctic blast that would take temperatures down into the single digits and daytime highs only around 10 degrees? Well, that never materialized because of this southern jet stream. It's been pretty active. And I know it's been super cold the last 4 or 5 days in the southeast, Central Alabama in particular. But not the big Arctic thing that we were talking about. The setup for getting a snow event really into Central Alabama has always been low in the Gulf of Mexico, and that looked like it was going to materialize for a little while. But what didn't, and what made me a little cautious about talking about this being a big snow event, was the fact that we always had warm air, a small tongue of warm air that looked like it was going to undercut this whole thing. And I often talk about, again, mostly in jest and mostly to small children, about, we used to call it Sammy the Snowflake. It was Robbie the Raindrop, Sammy the Snowflake. A snowflake's life cycle is that once it leaves the base of the cloud, as a snowflake, it must always be a snowflake, all the way down through the column, all the way down through the air column into the ground. It cannot melt and return to snowflake form. It's truly a tragic story. And when I used to tell it to kids, I tried to make it a little bit happier. But once it melts, once a snowflake melts, then it has to be in another form when it comes down to the ground. It still has 2 choices at that point. Whatever moisture is there, whatever drop is there, can be super cooled, and it can come all the way down to the ground. And at the surface, if the surface level or the temperature at your house is what we're talking about, if it's sub-freezing, then that water droplet can freeze on contact, and that is called freezing rain. To the other side of that is if that snowflake melts through the column and then the column down at the surface is thick enough, it can refreeze that raindrop but into a solid chunk of ice, and that is sleet. So we're talking about three things: rain, snow, or sleet. In this situation, it's always hard to predict the three when it comes to the southern United States, and it just is. I'm a meteorologist. Somebody questioned me the other day and said, what did I say? I said, this is just my opinion about the forecast. And somebody wrote on my Facebook page and says, I think I'm going to follow a meteorologist. And so I went through about, 250 words in an essay to explain to him that I was one and that I worked very hard to become one at Florida State University and that I've done this many, many times before and blah, 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 blah. And somebody said after the fact, said that was a mic drop. And then he came back and said, but didn't you get fired once? So, you can't win them all. But I've seen this kind of situation before, folks. I've been in the driver's seat there in central Alabama when we had low pressure coming out of the Gulf of Mexico, and if it nudged a little bit far to the north, it was a problem. So we'll get into the video in just a couple of seconds, but just now coming in is the nighttime NAM, the NAM, the North American model, that has higher resolution than the GFS and the Euro models that you've been hearing so much about. People know so much about models today, it's unbelievable. I can't believe I can even say those two terms, GFS and Euro, and you know what I'm talking about. But let's go straight to what just came in. And it's still now beginning to come in over there on the left-hand side. But here's Alabama, and this is going to be the product that shows you the kind or type of precipitation that this model is predicting. And we'll look at it together here, because I barely looked at it before we started this whole thing. And we'll look at it together here and decide. I don't see one question. We'll decide what we're going to do here. But as we move along and we go through hour by hour, 11 p.m., we've already got on this deal, we've already got some precipitation that looks like it's coming into Birmingham. Now, some is showing up on the radar already. But let's just go through the map here. After 1 a.m., here's the time, by the way, when you look at this. This is what time it is, 1 a.m., as far as the forecast goes. So it's already got what looks to be or appears to be rain that's falling here in central sections of Alabama. We go forward in time, and now you see some different colors. Purple is indicative of sleet. Purple shows sleet, and down beneath it is the green, which is going to be the rainfall. And that pink color that you see there is freezing rain. And this is just what the model believes. And it's got a hard time with this too. And look at the purple, still in Alabama. There's frozen precipitation in Birmingham, in central Alabama. That's I-20 going west-east, 59 going north-south, 65 going north-south. That's the major arteries that come into Birmingham, Alabama. So that'd be a problem at 4 a.m. There you go. At 5 a.m., that is still showing, in that case, freezing rain in Birmingham. So it's a liquid all the way down. And that means there's warm air somewhere in the middle. But still, down at the ground, the ground temperature is sub-freezing. That's 5 a.m. By 6 a.m., did you notice what just happened? By 6 a.m., it's to a lesser extent across central Alabama. And by 7 a.m., it should all be gone. And it kind of is. It's still probably going to be a mix in central Alabama. But 7 a.m., 8 a.m., it appears like the model's warming everything pretty quickly. And kind of has everything as a liquid through the entire state by noontime. In its liquid state. I'm going to back it up again. Now, if you're a snow lover, I am. I love snow. Don't anybody ever say I don't. Hey, there's questions there. I just don't see them on my Facebook page for some reason, but I'll look for it again. here in a minute. Unless nobody's got a question on Facebook. There's 42 people there. Somebody's got a question. Hi, all 42 of you. I appreciate it. So anyway, I'm in Panama City, Florida, by the way. But still loving everything about Birmingham. Good Lord. Hello from Central Alabama, Carissa. Hello to you. We're also on YouTube, so I'm in North Carolina. It's supposed to start at 7 tomorrow. Good evening, Cha-Cha Chubs. Oh, that was from you. Hit me with it, David. I need ice skates in the morning here in Birmingham, says Josh Burnham. I love that guy. You know, his last name is Burnham. So he knows all about Central Alabama. And Josh, that's what we're talking about right now. So we move along. And I know what the next thing you want to see is how much snow it's predicting. So here's what I think, folks. And I've thought this. You can go back and look at my Facebook page. You can go back in time. You can go back as far as you want to, because I've believed this the entirety of this whole event. I believe this was not going to produce snow like all the graphics were showing snowfall. I never really thought that was going to happen because there were some real problems with the physics going on with this, and I still always saw warm air there. But now the NAM model is predicting kind of like no snow for you sort of a situation. Why did that happen? This is the part I don't like. Kind of a 278 northward snowfall sort of a deal. Now, having said that, in the back of my mind, I still see this, and I saw it so many times in Central Alabama. I still see the possibility of an hour or two of like a really heavy snowfall, because I do think for a minute what happens is the precipitation leaves that cloud, and I do think for a minute that precipitation is going to end up being cold enough to stay a snowflake, but a really wet, big, fat, wet one. The kind you don't want to look up because it'll put your eye out. And it's that kind of a situation that I can see happening. Now, the other part of this is freezing rain, and so we're going to look at that too. And if I do that and I do that, that's a problem. I mean, so those 3 or 4 hours that we were looking at from 3 a.m. on, if there's 0.26 inches of freezing rain, I mean, if there's 0.5 inches or 0.05 inches of freezing rain, that's still a shield of ice that's all over stuff. Driving in some portions of Alabama, it may not be just the ones pointed out by this computer model, but driving in some of these arteries is going to be tough tomorrow because it's been cold enough to at least, it's not been below freezing the whole time, but it's been cold enough to at least maintain the ability to reach the freezing point pretty quickly on all the roadways and surfaces. And that thing in Gadsden there, 0.4, that'd bring down power lines. If that were to materialize, that could bring down power lines. So it doesn't always do a great job with freezing rain, though. And we'll just kind of see. Something that I do want to do right this minute, though, is I want to take a look at OBS and see exactly what the temperatures are across Alabama. Now, here we are at 8 o'clock. Here we are at 8 o'clock, and already, already you can see it's warming up. And I said this yesterday, too. The cold air that was in place was the cold air that we were going to have to rely on. There wasn't really another cold air surge coming in. So it was the cold air that was there that you're going to live with, and everything was going to have to materialize from it. Well, there's no more cold air, and there's none to be generated. And the only thing that's going to cool the air now is the precipitation. And that will bring some colder air down to the ground. It's called evaporational cooling. And that could really take place. But at 37 tonight, that's where we are. It's already showing just a bunch of warming that's occurring into the middle levels. So that's not, if you're a snow lover, that's not a good thing. If you don't want to see any of that ice, that's a great thing. I don't think anybody wants to see the roads covered in ice and cars sliding all over the place. Nobody wants to see that. I know a lot of people, I mentioned this earlier, there were a lot of people who, no, not a lot, 4 or 5 who had doctor's appointments for tomorrow that really needed to keep them. A couple of people were having chemotherapy tomorrow, so I've been trying to help them with this whole thing all along. And as much as I love snow, I didn't want to see anything as far as driving problems for them. The dew point temperature is very important. So the dew point temperatures are low. 18 in Birmingham, 16 now in Gadsden are the dew point conditions. And so the dew point, that's a depression. There's a depression. You take the dew point, let's say it's 20 in Tuscaloosa, because it is. And the actual temperature was 38, I believe, in Tuscaloosa. Let me just look at it. 40 in Tuscaloosa. So the dew point's 20. Now, when the precipitation begins, the dew point will come up. The actual thermometer will come down. They don't meet in the middle, though. They're going to meet somewhere around 35 or 36. So the precipitation is going to drive that temperature down. And I think somewhere around 34 or 35 probably is where the two will meet and produce 100% saturation and that kind of thing. So the other part of this, let's see, forecast. Well, let's just do this really quickly because I do want to show you where all the warnings are here at the moment. They're all over the place. What you see in the pink there, that is going to be the winter storm warnings that are in the area. Winter weather advisories are in purple, I think. Yeah, winter weather advisories are in purple. So at the moment, at least, it's I-20 northward, really, where there's a, that winter storm warning. So that's the current hazard there across the state. Let's go to the radar here, and let me pull it up. That's not it, though. Let me pull it up this way. Let's go to the radar and take a look at it here, Jarvis, if we can. We can show Jason Cooley really quick. This is how much it is snowing. This is Jason Cooley, and I believe he's somewhere in Paris, Texas. He's way out of the ballpark. He's in Paris, Texas. But I do want to show you this because, look, could this be the scene tomorrow morning in central Alabama? I want you to look along that fence post there. Now, that's a metal fence post, and you see the icicles. So, and the tree, I mean, you can see it glistening there in the tree. Jason Cooley's in an area where the temperature is at or just below freezing, so the rain that is falling, and it's rain now, I don't see any snow in his picture. The rain or sleet that's falling is freezing on contact. That's freezing rain and not a snow situation. Although if you look on the ground, that might actually be, I don't know if that was snow that began or it's probably sleet that is on the ground accumulating there in Jason Cooley's live imagery. And so that's certainly been problematic. Pull up the radar if we can. This is what it looks like, everybody. The stuff appears to be coming in now across Mississippi, and we'll look at some Mississippi cameras because I got some over there that I can show you in just a couple of minutes. I've put that into motion. You can see it's a big glob of crap coming in from the southwest. Monroe down to Alexandria, actually. And again, I got cameras over there we can look at. And now the rain beginning to approach West Alabama. If you just go to an actual local radar, GWX, some of the precipitation, it's moving fast. It's trying to come in really rapidly now. Where you see the brightness and the colors here along I-55, that's going to be sleet. It appears to be a thunderstorm, but it's actually going to be sleet in Grenada, Batesville, up I-65. Excuse me, that's I-55 that goes across Mississippi. And in Tupelo, there on to the east, got some of the precipitation trying to move in there. Even into Birmingham now, we have some echoes that are showing up. And I talked to Brad Adair about this because I've seen this many, many times before. You're going to see stuff on the radar, and I've already seen a couple of people go, here comes, it's already showing up on the radar. No, it's not. What is on the radar right now has no chance of making it to the ground. It's going to evaporate before it gets down to the ground. So it's very unlikely. I know we've even got some stuff that looks like it's falling up there into Hamilton, and it might be because that's sleet, so it might be breaking through. But the rest of this is going to be falling into a pretty dry air mass. And so it's going to evaporate for the first maybe 30 minutes or even an hour. You'll see it on the radar and you'll say, why isn't it doing something at my house? It's because it's on the trip down. It's evaporating. It's getting dried up really, really quickly. And it can't get all the way down to the ground. I've actually sat around and watched that stuff. One time in Chattanooga, Tennessee, like 5 hours it took it before it ever saturated the atmosphere and made it down to the ground. It was maddening watching radar and thinking it was coming down. I would just stare up there, and nothing ever happened. And I've had neck pain ever since that actually took place. But that's been a big deal. And let's start looking at cameras here. I told you I had one. Let's just go to Tupelo and see what that camera looks like. And there is a little bit of precipitation coming down in Tupelo, although I don't see a whole lot of it at the moment. Visibility's pretty high. But move a little bit further onto the west. Let's just go to Little Rock here and take a look. And that's the Little Rock camera. They've been socked in now in Little Rock, Arkansas. Brett Adair's over there somewhere. He could be inside for all I know, but I just heard a bear growl, but we don't have bears here. So it's a little bit weird right there at the moment in Little Rock. I think we'll look at the radar over there, and there's probably some precipitation beginning to change over there as well, it looks like, because, again, warm air is going to be a problem here for a little while. As we move on through the next couple of hours. I don't see down to, let's go to Manny. I love this camera because it shows you what the bridge looks like, but it's all raining there in Manny, Louisiana. It's right on the edge of getting some sleet, though, and just look at the fog coming in off the water. How crazy is that? Let's go to Big Bad Brett Adair. Brett Adair is at the inauguration. Where is Brett? Brett's somewhere there in... Well, he's in Little Rock. I think he's in Little Rock there at the Capitol. And you can see the roadway there. They've had some snow off and on. And it's tapered off a little bit now. Oh, let's go to the radar here and take a look. Radar, precipitation depiction. Yeah, it's even in Little Rock. It's beginning to change over a little bit, but there's some snow just off to the south, I think, trying to move back in. It's a strange situation. I know everybody, again, I can't imagine anything being more highly publicized than what we were seeing taking place over the past 48 hours or so. But the reality of it is it's an ugly winter's kind of a mix there, and I think everybody's trying their best to stay indoors. But that's Brett Adair. That's as close to the judicial system as I think Brett's ever been. At least pretty sure about that. But he's in downtown Little Rock. And then if you go a little bit further on to the east, we'll go to Clifton, Tennessee. And that was a bad choice. So let's try to go a little bit further over here into Atherton, Mississippi. That's Starkville. And I don't see anything going on there at the moment. Visibility is still high. So we'll let the Starkville camera go. And Macon, Mississippi, visibility there pretty high as well. And by that, I mean when the visibility is low, the precipitation is coming down. It's precipitating pretty hard. It was easy for somebody to say, just not me. So temperatures now are crucial across the state of Alabama, and there you can kind of see what we got. We got 37 in downtown Birmingham. Really the only critical areas at the moment are going to be these places up here in north and east Alabama where it's 32 degrees. I thought it would even be a little bit colder. It's 28 in Fort Payne. There it is, Bluefield. Those areas, too, could be graciously spared from having a big-time ice storm. I think that was in everybody's mind was that going to happen. Now, some of these places here, Coleman, you're at 32, and your temperature's going to go down because of the precipitation. So, the precipitation is going to drive temperatures down 5, maybe 6 degrees when it starts, but it's got to start in earnest for that to really take place. And we're 3 or 4 hours away. It's 8:30. Really wasn't supposed to vamp up until sometime after midnight tonight. I think it would really start to vamp up then. Let me take some questions here. What do we got? Carissa says, hey, that's clever. Thank you, Carissa. I try to at times. Sam Camp is with us. Love me some Sam Camp. Up there in North Alabama. Fun times ahead. Mark says it's going to get down to 32 in Dallas tonight for about 7 hours, supposedly. I wonder if that will be enough time for the ground to freeze all the rain. And then he answered himself. It's heavy snow in Dallas, but it's still coming down as rain. How do I pull, you mean on my Facebook page? Why can't I get that? That's pretty bad when you can't get your own stuff on your own Facebook page. Oh, there's some comments. Okay, great. That was a bad comment. Hold on. My comments aren't working, Jarvis, on my end. I don't know. Sometimes life just doesn't agree with me these days. I should just stay off the roads. Honestly, I can't get my own questions here. Jarvis, can you read some to me? Jarvis, will you read to me, please, in my ear? Any kind of a question from my Facebook page? Because that's why I did this. I really wanted to answer questions. So many people have asked me questions through the week on Facebook. Wait a minute. What's that? Hi, David from Gardendale. Is Sherry King hit? And then it went away. Tim Watson. Is that the Tim Watson? Is that Tim Watson from my childhood days up in Tennessee? The Riverboat Rambler. Don Wiley's watching. Don is somewhere. All right. Hey, I think I got some. Hello from Asheville. I think I can get it now. Hello from Asheville, and then it went away. Hello from Asheville, and then Lisa Hickey is from Sylacauga. Deborah Harris from Warrior, Alabama. What's up, Deborah? From Pell City, Alabama. We got Sharon Crosby, Jerry Trussell, and then as I said, we got Tim Watson, who's up there in Nashville, Tennessee. Tim, you're gonna get rocked up there. I really think Nashville gets a lot. Sherry Williams is from Adiana. She's watching tonight. Penny Miller is with us as well. Penny, great to see you. Brooke Davis Love is watching too. From Gardendale, it's Sherry King hit. Don Wiley. We got Mark. Yeah, I can see you, Mark, but somehow just barely. Kristen Williams is in Gadsden, Alabama, my hometown. Kristen is watching tonight. Tim says, what's up, brother Tim? It's so good to see you. You're supposed to write an intro for my podcast, brother, and I haven't seen it yet. Tim Watson, everybody knows Tim there in Alabama. Wonderful human being. Laura Gibbs is with us, and Laura says, can you please bring Snow to Trust with Laura? I wish. She's a Coosa alumni. She went to high school with me, I think, and I may still owe you money. Tim Watson reminds me that Jim Cantori is in Nashville, and it's probably where I should be. Marlene Appleton's from Pinson, Alabama, and Marlene, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I make no money off of this anymore, Marlene. I'm just, kind of down here by myself in Panama City, Florida. Y'all come down here, seriously. If you come to Panama City Beach over the summer and you don't text me and say, hey, meet me somewhere for a sweet tea, I'd be really upset. Nancy Lambert is with us tonight, and Don Wiley says, always trusted you. I really miss you in the Birmingham market. Don, that is by far the nicest thing I've heard in a long, long time. So I really appreciate that. Chris Smith says we need to get you some PCB gear. Yeah, we really do, Chris. I don't know why. I went by a little shop in Destin and came out with this. Amanda Phillips from Jasper, Alabama. Darlene Williams-Haney is watching also. And yes, I should be singing. I'm supposed to be at El Rodeo singing tonight, and I did not. Karaoke's like my new thing. Look, I feel like I'm not being serious enough about the actual snow event that's taking place here, and I want to be. Because I still think it's going to be problematic in some areas, just maybe not the entire state. And, it's kind of been my feeling the whole time. I'm sorry to be. Hey, how about one of these videos? How about this video? I used to be good at pointing when I was really on TV. What's that video? Tyler Kurtz. Tyler Kurtz today. Tyler was somewhere there in Arkansas today, and I got video of him. He had beautiful snowflakes that were falling. I'll try to pull those up in just a couple of seconds. Actually, stay off of my iPad for a second because I got to show you this. Tyler had beautiful video, and I took pictures of him taking his own video, and you got to see this. Pull my video of Tyler up earlier today. I believe this is Tyler, and he shot this video today, and I was watching it. And how epic is this? Because that was the heavy, wet snow, and I thought that's what we're going to have in central Alabama for a while. Is that Tyler? Because look at Tyler getting out and doing a selfie. Tyler got out of his car, and then I heard him talking to 2 or 3 people, and he did another. I just love people who take selfies. Tyler's cool, though, and that was a very cool video. Get off my iPad and go back because he's going to be really upset with me. Can you pull up something else besides my iPad? Because I'm going to go out of it, and you never know. All right, how about Brett? Do we have Brett riding around? Because he could be somewhere epic again, but you never know because he could end up also at a casino if there's one very close by. He's just sitting there on the side of the road, probably having a Pepsi and some sort of food, if I know him very well at all. Teresa Cummings. Hi, Teresa. How are you? June Peppers, who's always been a wonderful person to me. June is always there, no matter what. Terry Thomas Johns, who's also a little bit of a transient. She comes back and forth here to Panama City Beach quite often. Terry, it's good to see you. Scott Michael, Carmen Keaton. I see Gina Tittle is with us here. Patricia Renfro, my sister Kate, loved you. Like loved me? Or like just loved me like on TV? Because if she loved me, and she never told me, I'm going to be upset. Charlene Brown Hall is also watching. Annette Smith Gorham. Hi, David. Hi, Annette. Good to see you tonight. And again, if you if you ask questions, I'll answer them. I love to answer questions. I'd say I have a handle on this. I don't really have an unbelievable handle on this, but I think I sort of know what's going to happen now. It sort of feels like I've seen this many, many times before in the past, and pretty sure I think I know what's going to go on here. Brett's riding around again. He's got snow right there, but I got a pretty good idea. He's about to get out of it right about now. Is he at the emergency room? Where is he pulling into? That could be difficult. Robert says, looked like most of the snow goes northward. Mark says, Snowmageddon. Killer Cobra. Oxford here. What's up, Oxford? I made the mistake one time. I did a live shot there at the Oxford Civic Center. I believe it's the Oxford Civic Center. And I made the foolish mistake of saying I was in Anniston. And I still want to apologize for that, Killer Cobra. Hazel Green, Alabama's present. D. Williams tonight. Dean Barry is with us tonight. Good evening, everyone, says Dean. Dean, I haven't talked to you in forever. I thought you were mad at me, and I appreciate that. Somebody's from North Carolina, 7 tomorrow morning. That's true, too. Hazel Green is with us. D. Williams is with us. Honey Babecki, thank you, is with us tonight, too. We got Gardendale here. Now, here's what I want. So, with all you people on here, here's what I want to do through the rest of this evening. Because I've done this before, and I really think this works really well. If you shoot video of something, and you'll put it on here, if you'll send it to me via Messenger, if you're on my Facebook page, if you'll go into the Messenger and send that to me on Messenger, I can replay it. And I want to replay video for those people who are maybe in your hometown, wherever you're taking video tonight. It'll be a little bit before we actually get any. I know right now there's somebody, I just saw the dude on my Facebook page saying, it's snowing. And it is. Way up there. It is snowing right in Hoover at the moment. That's what the radar is showing. But I think the radar beam's probably up there about 30,000 feet or something like that. That's not actually the Birmingham radar. That's coming in from the radar. Well, that's way over there in GWX. But nonetheless, that's pretty much where we are at the moment. Grenada has a report now of sleet. So that's Grenada, Mississippi, just off to the west there. Grenada has sleet there showing up just at the moment. Look, again, we're not making fun, and I didn't write that winter storm to slam the South. It's still going to be that way. I'm not, and you shouldn't either. Let's take this seriously. I told somebody earlier, some friends up in Jasper, or actually over in Arley, they're near Smith Lake. I told them, I said, if you send your kids out tomorrow morning, just make sure you put a life jacket on them because it's gonna be wet. And I wish there was a way for me to say everybody gets to show somebody a child that didn't talk last year. I don't think you had snow last year, but the last time there was snow on the ground in central Alabama, there were children there who were just about being born or being thought about or maybe being really, really just created with the last snow, but they've never seen snow, never really had a chance to talk about the snow. And so I'm always looking for a little bit of snow for a child to see if they've never seen it before. And over the years, I've gotten some great reactions to children who'd seen their first snowfall, wake up and see their first. It's always really, really cool, but I still love the whole snowfall deal. I love the way that all comes about. Janet Smith is watching tonight. Janice. Tracy Todd's in Attalla, Alabama. I know a lot about Attalla. I used to work over there. I used to work at Robert Ricks, by the way. Robert Ricks and I went to college together. Robert retired from the National Weather Service down in Slidell, Louisiana. He and I used to play highlight together. I watched him play, but anyway, great guy. You might remember Robert Ricks, who wrote a really epic pre-Katrina summary from the National Weather Service office down in New Orleans. You ought to look him up. Look up Robert Ricks weather discussion prior to Hurricane Katrina. He grew up there, so it was very near and dear to his heart. And he wrote some wording that had never, unprecedented in wording from a National Weather Service employee, because you can tell it came from his heart. Robert, I hope it's all right I told that story. Jean Carroll is with us. Edith Kimbrell. Edith, I talk to you all the time. Janet Robertson Smith. And quite a few of you out there. Spring Garden, how much in Cherokee County, Alabama? Love me some Cherokee County. Used to go over and fish all the time. Cherokee County is over here in the east. And let me show you what I can do for it, because I'm going to personalize your forecast there. In Cherokee County, Alabama, I'm going to do it this way. We're going to go there. We're going to go to this thing. We're going to go over here to this map, and we'll look at the HRR forecast, and I'll show you what I can do for you there in Cherokee County, Alabama. You didn't say exactly where in Cherokee, but I'm going to assume it's right over in there. And this is what the HRR model, I'm going to show you the crap that we look at as meteorologists that we don't really talk about, but this is what we get to see. And so this is some of the information. It's called a skew-T. This takes into account what the balloon data has and what it's predicting the atmosphere would look like. And this is what the balloon looks like as it floats up. And you see the temperature and the dew point is predicted right there. So here we go. The forecast, and this is for 18 hours away. And the HRR, this came from the 23Z. Let me see if it'll let me update this. I want to use the 0Z. There you go, the 0Z. So we go forward in time, and this is going to be valid at 17Z, which is 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. We don't want to go that far. Let's go back. Let's back up a little bit. I'm sorry, I'm doing this raw, but I want to show you what we see, what we get to see, some of the data we get to see. Let's go into 12Z, which is 6 a.m. tomorrow morning when this forecast becomes valid. You can see again, what does this particular thing say? It says its best guess is precipitation type. That's the third time I've botched that word. I don't think in my career I ever couldn't say precipitation. But anyway, that's what it looks like. Sleet and snow for Cherokee County tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. And the hazard is a freeze, that's for sure. Because your column, remember I talked about this, once a snowflake, always a snowflake, and the column of air stays below freezing there in Cherokee County, at least for a short amount of time. You want to know where a snowflake is born? Right between 21,000 and 18,000 feet. That's the dendritic growth zone is right there in that area. And that's, up there We call it the 500 millibar mark, half the atmosphere. So pretty much what we're looking at there is a sleet snow. And if we go through it hour by hour, we'll go forward a little bit. It takes it a second to do that, but we'll go forward in time. And it has a sleet snow prediction there that does continue. Again, according to the HRR model, and that looks like a continuation until it changes to, that's 17. So now we're looking at 17Z. 11 a.m. and it's then predicting rain, a changeover to rain. So I'd really like to know, if that's the case, if this model nails it, I'd love to know that. And so let me know there in Cherokee County. I think at that point it's a changeover to rain, and anytime it changes over to rain, it's super hard to change back. So it didn't really ask for that. It really didn't come up with that. But that's what it says for the moment. Let me see if there's a new run here. There's not a new one. Here's a brand new. This is a brand new forecast again. I mean, they're all kind of new here. And we start out at 37 degrees at 7 p.m. And we go up to, now see right there, about 10 and 11 o'clock tonight, the model is forecasting the temps to fall down into the 30s, the low 30s. But going upward through the night for much of the area here. By 4 a.m., it brings the temperature down to 32 in Birmingham, 35 in Tuscaloosa, but still right at freezing in Gadsden. And then down below freezing, 31 at 5 a.m. And this is where it gets critical. This is where you're at 32, what time? 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, you're at 32 in Birmingham, 34 in Tuscaloosa. But that 32 degrees and precipitation could be very problematic because that is the point where stuff is going to freeze. Sometimes it doesn't freeze at exactly 32. Sometimes it takes 31. I've seen that too. 7 a.m. the temperature goes up to 33, I think, at 8 a.m. and just goes up a degree an hour after that. It takes you kind of out of the ballpark for snowfall. But does help you with whatever fell earlier that was maybe sleet or freezing rain and had accumulated. This gets rid of the driving problems pretty early in the day on Friday. And I feel bad about that, but also I know some people who really had to travel. And I got some people from Panama City who are watching too. And watch these temperatures here because this is kind of wild. While everything's going on there in Birmingham, Alabama, and the temperature is so cold there, well, it didn't happen like I thought it was going to happen. I thought we'd be near 70 in Panama City, and because we're going to be on the warm front. And it is going to go up to like 64 or so tomorrow. At 5 p.m. it'll be 64 down here on the beach. But you know what? Look, it's not going to last long because it does get colder. But the other part about this, that if you're in the Panhandle tonight and you're watching, is watch these winds. 6 a.m. tomorrow, we get up to near 30 mile per hour gusts by 11. And look at these 40. Well, there's a 50 mile per hour gust predicted in Pensacola at about noon tomorrow Central Time. And so if you're living in Panama City, this is what we say. This is where stuff's going to get dumped over. And there's not much you can do about it. It could, you can do stuff about it. You can bring your stuff in. Or you can do stuff about it. I don't know why I said you can't do stuff about it. I felt like Theo there for just a moment. Anyway, I didn't really talk about these winds. These are going to be high winds coming into Alabama too. This is 9 a.m. and so with your rain and sleet and whatever else, these are some high winds coming in. 26, 28. By noontime, there's some gusts that could occur over 30 miles an hour, 35, and near 40 coming into Birmingham at noontime. 40. There's a 50 mile per hour gust. Again, these are possible. Let's see. Go pop it up. So Brett Adair. Oh, check it out. Brett Adair is watching somebody act a fool. This is called I believe they're filming a show affectionately known as Jackass, and they're kind of, watching somebody with a four-wheeled vehicle there, and then they quit as if they thought they were being filmed, Brett. So you might want to retreat, or he just dropped the cylinder. I don't know. But something about that didn't go very well. He might have gotten a phone call. Could have gotten a phone call from a girlfriend or something like that. But we'll get back when... Is Brett going to race him? Are they going to So up north, I shouldn't say this, but up north, this was called a certain thing. It was called whipping S's. Whipping S's. When you go out in the parking lot and you do this, or when I lived in Minneapolis, we called this whipping E's. And so you go, when the lake froze over, you go out on the lake and you do this. This is what we used to do after the newscast at night. Who's that again? Whose video is that right there? Because that's oh, there's the popo. That's why he quit. Go back to Brett's video. Go back to Brett's video. Hurry. Oh, Brett, turn around. This was gonna be good. Turn around, Brett. Turn around. I want to see this. Where'd he go? Oh, did he hide? He hid behind that dumpster. Bad boys, bad boys. What we gonna do? What we gonna do when it comes for you? Did you see that? That's why that guy quit. Oh, Brett. That would have been classic video. The dude hid the razor behind the dumpster. Oh, jeez. Oh. All right. Teresa Gardner's watching. Larry Peak is out there. Ellen Morrison. Hey, cuz. Ellen is with us. Tony Clevenger. Hey, Tony, how are you? Sheila McBride is there. George White, Gene Carroll. What about Chilton County? Chilton County, you're right on there on that bottom side of everything. I mean, you're there to where it's a close call, but I think you're right there with everything. You're the same as Birmingham, really, at this point when it comes to that. I just don't see anything really that much different when that all is said and done. But again, can I get back to... I'd really like for you to share your videos tonight. I don't know how long we're going to be on. I got one of those new back warmer things and massagers that's behind me, and so I might last a little longer than I normally do. But if... well, it sounded as well as I could put it. I was going to say move it around. Hey there, Teresa Gardner. How are you, Teresa? Haven't talked to you in a long, long time. So we could be here for a while, but I'd love to see any video that you got. And so the last time I said that, though, I got some video that probably wasn't appropriate. But maybe weather video. If you got some weather video you're going to show us, especially if you got a pet or an animal. I'd love to see animal videos, pet videos, that kind of a thing. If you got some of those, that would be great. Sharon Hamilton says we're waiting for snow in Oxford, Alabama. I still think that could happen. I still think there's a time period where there could be an hour or two of really heavy snow in Oxford, Alabama. So we're not going to poo-poo that all together here. So that could actually happen. Eleanor Van Sant is with us. Lisa Fry is watching. What's up, Lisa? Lisa Fry, my great friend there. And Michelle Crane says she's in Warrior and she wants to know what the weather is really going to do. I turn to David Deal. Thank you so much for keeping us informed. Michelle, how sweet are you? That's very, very sweet. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But, you know, and it hasn't happened yet. What if it snows 6 inches here and I was totally wrong? Because I've been harping on this for about a week now that it wasn't going to be a snowstorm. And I took a pretty big beating. Corey Carver's watching. Corey, how are you doing? Good to see you there tonight. So what do we have on YouTube? Are there questions on YouTube that I'm... Poor Snowflake. Jason says, poor Snowflake. I can't see any of that, dude. Yeah, to make that 8 times larger. Dean Barry grew up in the northern South. Dean, you got to slow down on whatever that is. So I think I got everybody. Adrian Chambers, do you know how bad Sardis, Mississippi will be? Sardis again in that area that's a little bit far out of this whole thing, I believe. I think you're going to be a little bit too far to the south. And you can pretty much, sort of count on at this point just about everybody there in southern Mississippi being in the same sort of situation here. We're all just kind of sitting here and waiting to see how far this temperature is going to fall prior. I started to say landfall, but we're not in hurricane mode. Prior to the low pressure center moving past us. All week long, the low pressure kind of looked like it was going to stay further down to the south, and now it's really started to move northward, and that's been truly problematic. I want to do this, too, because the satellite imagery has been pretty awesome here with this whole system. It's a big area of low pressure that's coming northward, but again, driving. Actually, this might be a great map to show because it's going to show you the wind direction. And there's the low pressure coming in across the western. Am I allowed to call it the Gulf of Mexico anymore? Because I keep seeing where it's changed names over the past 36 hours, and I knew nothing about it. But the flow coming in from the southwest and coming back and over and riding back into the southeastern United States, that is a mean jet stream down to the south, mean enough to where I thought it was going to give severe weather up here into the panhandle of Florida, but it doesn't look like that's going to materialize. But it is driving in warmer air that's eroding away the cold air that was sitting here. Cold air is very dense, lays low to the ground. Well, this is kind of scouring it out before it arrives, and that's why you saw your temperature go up. I remember, I can't tell you how many countless days and nights I remember being in Birmingham and knowing as soon as the clouds came in, the temperature is going to go up. It's inevitable in central Alabama. Cloud cover equals warming air. So your preset better follow the cloud cover pretty quickly, or it just really doesn't have a chance, folks. And, I know there have been certain situations where it was different, but not many. So that's a sort of situation where we stand at the moment. But the satellite imagery there is kicking and showing quite a bit of activity there, too. But the radar, let's go back to it, show you. It's getting close. And, again, I just saw somebody else on Facebook report that it was snowing now because they saw it on the radar. And you're all really, if you don't see that, you can just laugh because I don't think any of this is getting close to reaching the ground just yet. It would take a little while for that to do so. This stuff back to the west, I think maybe now some of you over into West Alabama may actually be seeing precipitation. Perhaps. I'd love to know. There's no way for me to know if this stuff is reaching the ground in Sulligent. Ellen Morrison, I know you're over there in southern Lamar County. And I need to know, is it actually coming down to the ground there, back over in Lamar County and Vernon, an area there on Highway 17 that I grew up there. My grandmother lived in Millport, Alabama for many, many years, and I used to go and travel there and do a little catfishing and a couple of ponds there. Ellen had a great pond. Her husband, I used to love that area of Alabama. So you guys over there, you got to let me know what this is when it comes down. Again, the radar believes it's snow there, and it'd be great to know whether or not it is or whatever it is. So as soon as something hits the ground at your house and you can get a picture of it or something like that, send it to me on Messenger, and we will promptly put it on the air and share stuff that way. I wish we had, I used to hate commercial breaks, but I wouldn't mind one at this moment. Jarvis, have you got anything to say? Is there something you'd like to say? There is. I'm not talking to myself. There's another person in my ear that I'm talking to, so I've graduated past that. The doctor said everything's going to be better now. Eric Parker. Dude, I haven't talked to you since that tornado. Eric Parker is on Facebook for tonight with us. David Pardue is watching. Diane Massey Minton is watching. Dawn Ledbetter is watching. And Corey Carver. Oh, great to hear from you, Corey. Bill Philpott is watching tonight, and really appreciate that. Nobody's asking questions, but it's great to see that you're watching, and I do appreciate it. Debbie Wynn is also watching at the moment. There's radar into West Alabama. Temperatures again hovering just above freezing in areas of East Alabama, but have climbed a little bit. But I'd love to know if this stuff in Hamilton's getting anywhere close to reaching the ground there in Marion County. Up I-22 coming out of Jasper. What a beautiful trip that is. I saw those tornadoes back in 2011 there. I caught the first tornado coming into Jasper, crossing over 22. I have a lot of memories there in Alabama, and all of them were not tornadic. Ellen says nothing's falling here yet, David. Ellen, I appreciate that. And so now, Ellen, are you still, can you tell me, are you still there in, are you in Vernon? Debbie Wynn's in Rainbow City. Alabama is well represented tonight. She's in Rainbow City, Alabama. Hayden, Christy Slaughter-Turney's in Hayden. And Ellen, if you're there in Lamar County, you're going to be our Lamar County weather watcher for tonight, because that's where it's all going to start. And whatever's happening there at your house is going to be really indicative of what the rest of us see make it to the ground, because the radar is either being fooled or that is snow. And it would tell us, by the way, if it was anything else that was frozen. It'd tell us if it was sleet, but right now the depiction is snow. Nothing entrustful yet, says Debbie. Thank you, Debbie, for looking out the window for me. I really appreciate that. Hopefully we can pass that along to other people through the night tonight. And I just got a picture that I can't share. Shame on you. So there's been nothing. Ellen's in Millport, Alabama. And so she's going to be officially... Ellen Morrison's going to be our Millport, Lamar County weather watcher for tonight. And she's going to let us know, really, I think the first flakes, if anything actually happens or falls down on the ground, that's where it's going to happen first. And I'm sitting here on the edge of my seat for several reasons, but mostly because I want to know. Like you, I want to know what's going to come out of the sky here in Alabama. It's going to be fairly interesting, I think. And I don't know, do we have any? There's really nothing up in Florence yet. But we've got a ton of cameras up there, so we'll also see the minute that it starts happening there here tonight, too. They're off to the north. We do have those cameras that are up there. What you got? Are we going to look at some video? I'm going to do this. Y'all hold on, because I'm going to have to do this as crudely as possible. I'm just going to share my my safari with you here tonight. Look at the camera. I want to see the camera in Florence, actually. That's not the way to do it, but we're going to do it this way. We're going to go to the HazCam's sites and look at the Florence, Alabama camera here. And this is looking in at UNA, I think, University of North Alabama in Florence. And at the moment, there's stuff on the radar, but there's nothing on the camera. And so that's going to be our deal tonight. We're going to see stuff on the radar that doesn't make it to the ground for a little while. I mean, it may take a couple of hours between what's actually coming on the radar and coming to the ground. You see the temperature now up there in Florence has come way up. And this is really... Let's see, this is coming into the, how do you read this thing? Those are real times. Those are going to be up there at 35 degrees. Now, it was 23, and it's come up to 35 in 6 hours. And we call this warm air advection. It's tremendous warm air advection. And this is this is where the dew point and the actual temperature would meet if the precipitation falls, and it says 33 degrees. That's the reading at the moment, and 33 is just a little bit too warm for there to be any snow right there. We're not going to call this a bust. There's no way to say it's a bust yet, because it hasn't happened, and I don't pretend otherwise. But look how this goes at the moment as far as the cameras go and everything else. Here's a camera that's over in Greenwood, Mississippi, that I thought about showing you, but it shows nothing. There's a Kosciuszko. Is that snow on the ground or something? How do I get that to go full screen? I don't know. I can do it that way. Yeah, there's stuff on the ground in Mississippi. That's Kosciuszko on the west, on the right there on the west side of 50. Well, that's going to be on the east side actually of 55. And up into Nashville. Well, let's first of all go into Linden, Tennessee, and I think stuff should start falling here in Linden. I really thought that through the day today, that would be one of the first places you'd see it in Tennessee if it was going to happen. And I think, pretty much this would be the case. Let's pull back out of this. I may be in Never Never Land here. Gosh. It thinks I'm pulling out through the entire world. Let me do it this way. My apologies. Where are we at here? The camera that I'm looking for. That's Paris, Texas, Oklahoma, LeBeau. Erie. I'm so sorry. Please talk amongst yourselves for just 1 second. On the left-hand side is some dude's house who just wanted to have a camera. And he has more views than anybody right now at his private camera. Let's see. Here's the National Weather Service in Birmingham. I'm sure you've seen this. That's all the areas there in Birmingham. It includes Jefferson County, but all the areas that are still under the winter storm warning that is in effect. But what is blaring is this. Yep. So let's just look and see what Brett's doing again. He had great. If he'd have stayed on that dude who was riding around with a four-wheeler, that'd have been really cool. Yeah. Did he offer to talk to us? Can people hear you while you're talking to me, or am I just going to come off looking like an idiot? Nobody can hear me. Christy Wilson is watching. John Jeffries is watching. Candy Thomas is watching. Thank you very much for tuning in here for a moment with us. Look, I realize we don't have a lot to show you just yet. We came on pretty early, but I'd love to just get the word out there that if you're watching, Nancy Lambert's going to send pics in the morning if anything's going on. June Papper's there in Adiana. She's going to do the same. Eric Parker is he's at the country club in Columbus. He says he's looking at the country club in Columbus, and appreciate that, Eric. Not sure. Becky Vines is watching tonight. Candy Thomas, it's great to see you all, and thank you for tuning in here. We're watching Brett Adair, who at the moment is on the interstate. Can we listen to Brett? Is there a way for us to just hear his in-car, and maybe we don't want to hear it because... All right. Let's listen to Brett. We're going to listen into Brett for 1 second here. He is... I don't hear him. I kind of hear the sounds of him being in the vehicle, and now that he's tailgating well, that's actually Heath is tailgating a vehicle who really just pulled in front of him, I think. Let's talk about their driving abilities tonight. Heath should probably backed off a little bit further, because when you're in an icy situation like that, I think the law says you're supposed to be 15 cars back. That's the law where I used to live. Sherry Williams is watching. Eric, I know what you're talking about. We're not looking at correlation coefficient, buddy. They are terrible sounds. And it has something. How do I get that? What's that picture? What is that right there? Is that just a photograph? Well, I just got to see it. Oh, Tyler Tyler Kurtz dropped out of snow coverage, and he is now at the Hooters in. It's his problem because he left his camera running, or at least it froze where he was. Tyler, Chris Walton, we miss you in Birmingham. I miss you too, Chris. And great to hear from you. Chris Nichols is watching. Eric still, he remembers the terrible sounds of the nightmares. Eric Parker and I, we were in a tornado together back in, God, I don't know how long ago, but we saw a tornado together on the ground and followed it. It eventually became a big F3 tornado there in Earl, Arkansas. And I just want to tell you, no, I don't. That was way back when. So again, we're kind of watching Brett, who's driving around here at the moment, just outside of Little Rock. He's going to get back on the interstate there on 40 and hightail it onto the east. I'm not going to say I told you so, Brett, but I told you so. Shouldn't have gone that far off to the west. And, that's kind of where that whole situation is here at the moment. Bill Gorse is watching tonight. Bill, it's great to hear from you. So great to hear from you. I really appreciate it. And again, just trying to kind of keep up with everything that's going on. What is new as far as the models go? It's a 918. We already looked at the one big model there, but let's do a little dissection if you don't mind, since there's not a whole lot of other stuff going on. You can only look at snowfall for so long. I want to go to this deal here, and let me show you. You're smart enough to be able to look at this with me and know what's going on here. Let me show you something that's happening. Actually, for 1 second, if you don't mind, Jarvis, if you put something else up right there, because I'm going to take a snapshot of something. I don't want everybody to have to watch exactly when I do that. But we're going to I'm going to do this, and I'm going to take a look at this model right here really quickly. Give me 1 second, folks. If you just give me 1 second, I think you're going to like this, because this will explain why everything has happened tonight the way it has, and why all throughout this I just didn't really feel like this is going to be a snow event if you believe in the model. And I always did kind of believe in the model. Oh, this is going to be so good. I can't wait to show you this in the form. I'm going to show it to you. Let's do that and do this and go out of that and do this and do this. And this is going to be everything, folks. This is going to mean everything. So this is the information that we get here, and I want to show you this, because this is what I see that most people don't get to see, who are out there just kind of looking at random stuff. This is what I get to see, and again, if you believe in the model, and we sort of, as we go through time, you start believing in certain models at certain times. I believed in the GFS model when it was 200 hours away. I believed in the NAM model when it got within 84 hours, which is their short term. And now this HRR model, it updates every hour. So it tries to correct itself every hour. And so you sort of believe or assume that the correction is going to bring it up to date quite often. But here's what I want to show you. In this case, let me see if I can zoom in. It's not going to let me zoom in. But in this case, I'll make this a red color. No! That's my daughter I haven't talked to in a while. Come off of me for just a second. Let me say no. I love you, Aubrey. Can you come off this for a second? All right. I should have turned on my... Is it do not disturb? What do you turn on when that happens? Personal. Do not disturb. All right. Where was I? D is in David. Doodle. D is in Doodle. And then this zip. Now come back to me. All right. I apologize, but this is super important, and this is why I always believe this is going to be the way it was. And In the realm of a snowflake must always be a snowflake. So let's assume that these are snowflakes, and I want you to see something, and I know you can't see it because it's super duper small. I don't know, Jarvis, if you can take it full screen. If you possibly could, that'd be great. So at the bottom, and again, it's kind of cut off here, but the time is going, so it's a time deal. As you go from left to right, it's increasing in time, and I'll just kind of show you, since you can't see it, I'm going to show you what time this is. So this first time right here is going to be midnight. That red line, that's midnight tonight. And this is 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. This is noon tomorrow. So it's a time scale. As you go from left to right, we're looking at time. So let's assume we have snowflakes up here. And they're real nice. These are beautiful snowflakes up here in the cloud. Here's what's going on. The snowflake falls, and anywhere you see these colors, the temperature is above 32. It's 32 degrees plus. Right here, it's 32 degrees plus. And you see there's a nose out here of 32 degrees plus. So these snowflakes are falling, and right here, the snowflakes are falling into what we know the temperature is well above freezing at the surface, but they're falling into this area, this nodule of above freezing temperatures. And this is height, so we're falling from here. This is the height and all the way down to the ground, which is right there. So the snowflakes are falling through, so melting, melting, melting. You see this little corridor right here? There's a little corridor there where it's frozen longer. And that's the point where we might possibly, so the snowflake melts right here. But maybe it's snow long enough to just make it through. Maybe it just makes it through. So that's the possibility of getting the snow to the ground. But that's really the only possibility of getting snow to the ground, because over here through time, again, we're looking at before noon. This drops through that warm nose and melts. So the snowflake can't return to anything else except frozen form. And right there between 10, it looks like 10 a.m., excuse me, that's 12Z, so that's going to be as early as 5 a.m. Let me catch up. This is when the snowflakes are, and they fall through the warm nose, and then they melt, but right there is a new freezing point down at the ground. And so it's right here between 4 a.m. and 9 a.m., between 4 a.m. and 9 a.m., right there is the zone where it could become sleet, most likely again, or freezing rain. And this is the profile that you look at when you decide what's really going to happen. You'd have to have that profile be all this color right here, all that color, in order for it to be a snowflake. And this is why I thought all along there just wasn't going to be the likelihood of a big snowstorm in central Alabama. So I apologize. I know that was long-winded, but just the super scientific side of what goes into making a forecast is really part of this. And I think we lost 35 viewers when I started that. John Moore's watching. Diane Baker is out there. Brian Hancock, Karen McKinley, Carmen Keaton. Ann says, appreciate all you do. That's very sweet of you, Ann. I really appreciate that so much. Appreciate everybody who's kind of looked in here. And again, my point for doing this was, I hope if you get any pictures, any photographs, any video that you can share with us here, we'd like to see that even tonight or in the morning or whenever this happens. We're really depending on our weather watcher, brand new weather watcher over there in Lamar County, Alabama, Ella Morrison. She's going to be letting us know what's falling to the ground there. She promised she'd stay up through the entire night in order to do so and let us know when this actually became precipitation that was hitting the ground. And at the moment, it's edging out here. Now you can see, even as far as Grenada northward, that's all going to be some sleet beginning to fall there in that area. At least according to the radar, this is going to be sleet that is falling right through this region. and that's where the temperature has been either brought down to 32 or below, or somewhere right in that area. This claims to be snow, but I don't think so. I think that's actually not going to be the case. And then this is all rain from Jackson, Mississippi, northward throughout that region. Where the temperature is now, going to be watching the temperature through the night tonight, because that's where it gets critical. And we started out with temperatures that were fairly warm, up to 37, 38 degrees just a little bit ago. At the moment, I think our temperatures are still going to be a little bit warm, but we do have the new 9 o'clock numbers that just came in a few moments ago. And, again, most likely they're going to be a little bit warmer than you'd like if you are looking for snowfall. We'll do the OBS here and look really quickly. And at 9 p.m., still at 37 in Birmingham, 40 in Tuscaloosa, 34. It went up 2 degrees now in Gadsden, Alabama. And I'm not going to say this is a bust. I don't think anybody wants to say this is a bust at all, but I do think it was, I don't know, maybe a little overly hyped. Let me show you that thing. The other thing that bothered me all week long, and I'm going to show it to you now, because I think it's pretty important. The next time one of these situations comes up, you might ask this question. And I talked to a couple of people about it today. This was something that always bothered me. Oh my gosh. Now it's even further exacerbated. Let's see. So there's another thing that we often talk about that we don't talk about on television as meteorologists. This other thing that we use that sort of is a guideline. And back 30 years ago, it was a guideline, and people have gotten away from it just a little bit, but I still use it as a reference point when it comes to the snow line. And it's called, we used to call it the infamous 540 line. And what is it? It's the thickness of the atmosphere. It's how thick the atmosphere in decameters, DAM in decameters actually. What does it mean? Half the atmosphere, it takes the bottom half of the atmosphere and it measures, supposedly this is all analytical though and run through algorithms, but it takes the last half of the atmosphere, and so the thinner the atmosphere is in decameters, the colder it is throughout the entire column from 500 millibars down to 1,000 millibars. Well, so we're taking half the atmosphere. And so 540 decameters is the number, and that's why it's in blue and in the pink or the red indicated by the model. That's typically the line where we used to say that was the snow line. And so you'd follow, that line to say that's where the snow is going to be. I watched this thing all week long be way up into Tennessee. The rain snow line or the 540 line, was way up into Tennessee this entire time. And so as a result, I really felt like at that point it was, not going to be the big snowmaker that everybody thought. Right here, 547, 552, and people were still calling for snow, and that's not possible. Now, when does it look like it could be? I don't even see where it looks like it could be snow, even after the front goes by. So it is. It truly looks much, much, much warmer there, no matter what you do, no matter how many different ways I look at it. And if you're just wondering, by the way, what Birmingham is looking at, this is the new GFS numbers as far as the temperatures go for Birmingham, Alabama, over the next 16 days. And I want to caution you again, because there's a super cold snap that shows up again toward the end of the GFS. And when is this going to be? January 21, 22, 23, with a daytime high of 32 and 22. But what is that? Now we're looking at 10 days away, and I'll trust this thing as far far as I can throw it, because 10 days away, it has depicted a snowstorm now about 5 times this winter. And none of those times did it happen. But it does look like it's still going to remain pretty cool in Birmingham. Daytime highs only near 53 one time. January the 17th or so. And then after that, it looks like it might warm some more. These are cold days here. 33 on Saturday. I'd rather look at the National Weather Service forecast, though, and this is from NWS. This is the National Weather Service forecast over the next 7 days. That's tomorrow at 35, 38, and then into the 40s the rest of the week. But only 40, 42 through that period there, too. And let's see what happens. The GFS was forecasting that to be down into the 30s. And let me go back here and look at so now we're looking at long-range forecasts. And this is that GFS model. It's the only one that goes way on out there. Let's just do the southeast. I don't want to do that. Let's go back here and do the southeastern United States and take a look. And so there's the event for tomorrow. Truly, it's backed off of that too, but we go through time. The next event comes up. Where is it? I still don't see it. 17th, the 18th. So there's the next rain event on the 18th with what looks to be a little bit of snow into the Blue Ridge. Sorry. A little bit of snow into the Blue Ridge. That goes by, makes it a little bit cooler. Another low into the Gulf of Mexico, although there's no cold air there. Remember that 540 line I was telling you about? That's the one that we often, again, look at as a rain-snow line. We probably should do it even more now. That goes by, and now that 540 line is further down to the south, and that just shows you when an intrusion of cold air comes in, passes on by, and it's an uneventful deal until the next rainmaker comes in. We're kind of worried we're going to have severe weather. Emily Wells is out there tonight. Donna says she fell asleep, and she just woke up. But you'll have to go back and see the first of the video. Donna, you didn't miss anything. It's gone downhill since the very beginning. Thank you for the update. You're the best. Donna, it's always great to hear from you. Vicki Brassfield is with us tonight. Mick Phillips is watching tonight, as well as Marie Robertson. Chris Walton says, the TV guys need ratings. Just give the facts. I did that. My buddy Alan Gentry's watching. Alan, so great to hear from you. Always great to hear from you. And loved your mama so much. It was so sweet. Always so sweet to hear from you, Alan. Allison Thomas is in Texas. Some kind of hard object fell from the sky. I think I probably picked up on that. There was probably another conversation up higher that led to that, wasn't there? Allison Thomas, she says, yes, in Texas, some kind of hard object just fell from the sky. But we should probably go up. Sam Camp says, I still think we get 3 to 6 inches around here. Okay, Sam. Okay, buddy, you just keep up that. Michael Beards in Arlington, Texas. No. These are weird statements. Yes, you're close. I'm from Ontario. These aren't questions. These are people who are having conversations, Jarvis, on our... They're talking amongst themselves. They're not wanting to talk to me. I really want to access that small can for snow falling. He says he can confirm that no snow is falling in St. Clair County. Yeah. Like, woo! Woo! Glad about that. Whataburger is pretty good. Josh says Whataburger's overrated. And Dean says I'm a Burger King guy. And Michael says, did he say nachos? God, this is good stuff. Brad Radici. My buddy Brad is watching back in Birmingham, Alabama. He may not be in Birmingham. Brad is like the jet. Brad Radici. Channel 42, sports anchor extraordinaire, and all around just what a terrific guy. If you've never met Brad Radice, you got to look him up. He's at Stanford University now, and you need to check him out. But Brad Radice is watching. He took me to an FSU football game that I hadn't been to in 20 years recently. Brad, I love you. You guys are amazing. I think they were just somewhere in like Italy. Was it Italy, Brad? Somewhere over there. Chris Walton, Mick Phillips, Leslie Huggins from Nashville. Leslie. Nashville, I still think, is in this. Emily Wells is checking in from, she got home, and we're good with whatever happens, Emily says. I love that, Emily, because some people won't be. Some people will be very upset with what happens. Oh, Brad. Bruce Phillips. Bruce, it's great to hear from you tonight. Norma Dean, there's a question. Woo! What about the north end of the state, David? DeKalb County, are we going to get snow, or is it all icy, slushy mess? Norma Dean, and I moved down here to Panama City from DeKalb County, Alabama. I lived up there in Fort Payne, just out from Mentone for a couple of years there, coming out of Denver, actually. You know what? Maybe I'm not as... I'm an Alabamian at heart, but I did live in Denver for like 11 years, and I saw snow. It snowed there every week, if not twice a week, and I kind of got used to it in a way, or at least didn't get all bent out of shape over it for a day or two. The worst part about it was trying to dig out of it every time it happened, get your car out of it, get the windshield cleaned off, and that kind of thing. That's why everybody in the West or wherever it snows, you keep your windshield wipers sticking straight up, because if you don't, they'll freeze to your windshield. So do that tonight for sure. Actually, I'm not kidding. For some of you, you might do that. Get your windshield wipers and point them upward so that they're not stuck to your windshield in the morning when you go out. And that's a tip we could give tonight. If there's any kind of information that would be decent, that's it. If you can still go outside and put your windshield wipers upwards so they're not frozen if you have to drive early tomorrow morning. Pamela Long is watching. Pamela, Chris says, oh snap, you guys are in trouble. He's talking about Jim Cantori again. Jim and I worked together at the Weather Channel, and his desk was not too far away from mine, but I've known Jim for many, many years. And he goes, do what? What didn't happen? You got a lot of distortion. No, it happened. Well, I mean, how could it not have happened? We were both there at the same time. She asked about DeKalb County, so shut up, Jarvis. Let's look at DeKalb County, Alabama. We're going to do that, and I think I want to do that, DeKalb County, and I want to sort of do that in a different way. I want to do that to where we can actually zero in on it here and look at it exactly in an exact format. We can't do it that way. Let's go back to the local and go to Alabama and take a look at DeKalb County, Alabama, up there in Fort Payne. And I'm going to do that, and I want to pull this up. This is according to the HRR model once again. The runs from 18, I don't want to use the 18 run. I use the 0Z run to get it up to date a little bit further. So we're going to move this up to like 6 hours from there. And that brings us up to what says it's going to be freezing rain there. But I want to get it before the precipitation starts. So this is at 04Z. So this is looking at 10 o'clock. This is 10 o'clock where there's no precipitation just yet. But we're going to move it to where there is. 10 o'clock up to 6, and that's midnight tonight. And by midnight tonight, this model actually is predicting, and rightly so, I think, freezing rain up there. Not snow, but freezing rain. And its reason for that is that the temperature profile has a melting layer right there. It's 800 to 975 millibars. 1,500 feet or so above the ground, and then it doesn't refreeze again until the freezing layer at 975 to 980. So its prediction is that would be a freezing rain situation for Fort Payne, Alabama. And then let's go beyond that, because then there's going to be a lot of evaporational cooling take place. So hour by hour, still freezing rain. Again, that's 07, so 1 a.m., 2 a.m., freezing rain, 3 a.m., freezing rain. Ooh, this is all about freezing rain up there in DeKalb County. I mean, every bit of this is just going freezing rain, freezing rain, freezing rain. 10, let's go to 6 a.m. in the morning, and that'll show us, again, I think another freezing rain situation. Ooh! Oh! So here's the deal. Here's the deal now. At 12Z, 6 a.m., its best guess for DeKalb County is snow. And there's no longer, the temperature profile, that reading right there, there's no longer a layer there that's preventing that from happening. So there's actually a situation where Sammy the snowflake is available to make it from the cloud all the way to the ground without melting. Now the temperature, I think, at this point on the ground is still going to be somewhere around 32. It's not going to be much colder than 32. So it's kind of at a critical point there to where it's not. Well, it says temperature at the ground to be at the surface to be 29 degrees. That's a decent sort of a situation there for snow to fall. So let me do it this way. I'm back out of this. Let's do that and go through the model physically in DeKalb County, and we'll go up to the point right there. And yeah, so the model does have snow falling there in DeKalb County at that point. I don't know. I think that's doable. I think that's possible that at that point that could be, just an all snow situation. Right there at 8 a.m., it's saying Gadsden. You're still in a snow situation in Gadsden. That all that purple now at 8 a.m., that's going to be sleet in Birmingham, Alabama, according to the model. Going forward, there's snow in Gadsden. Still, this is going to be right there at 9 a.m., snow in Gadsden. And you can see the big arc that's taking place. So you can see the warm air coming in from the south and just eroding the chances for frozen precipitation away. But by 11 a.m., I mean, there still may be snow falling in DeKalb County, northern DeKalb County, Fort Payne, northward, and then just a continual warming that goes forward that says by 3 p.m. it's just rain. And I want to mention, too, there's some evidence here that the rain could be quite heavy. The rain could be, I mean, there could be 3/4 of an inch of rain before it's over with from that whole situation there. Jay Sullivan is with us. Suzanne Vest is with us. Chris Walton and Andy Spires is watching tonight. She wants to know about Moody and St. Clair County. Brad wants to know, first of all, I got to answer Brad's questions because he gets me tickets. Should Birmingham be more worried about snow or ice? I would think ice. I never thought this is a big snowmaker for Birmingham. I think if there's any problems at all, it's going to be early tomorrow morning in Birmingham. And I think it's going to be about the amount of sleet that could be falling and maybe for a short time some ice that would be forming. Now, you've been watching all these people driving back to the west, though, with the sleet that was around, and it wasn't really sticking to the ground, but it was piling up. And that really, I can see that being the case. I mean, in my mind, I can envision how the whole atmosphere would allow that to happen, would allow there to be that kind of, freezing rain sort of a situation, and then maybe some sleet. But Brad, if you look at, again, this particular model that we're watching is predicting all that to take place. I mean, it really has rain until 2 a.m. This morning, and a sleet, just not just a regular sleet, but a heavy sleet coming down at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m. That's at 9 a.m. There's still some sleet around Birmingham, and so this could be a big time. And the only way I can find out about how much sleet is by using another computer model. Let me do that real quick here and take a look, because this is the only one that actually does sleet for us. And dang, I gotta do it this way again. No, I don't. I think I can actually go to cities and pick Birmingham. I can. And so this is a new model. We talked about a model, an hour ago. It was an hour ago. Now this is a brand new model that's just come in. The HRR has updated itself, and right about here, this is 02 again. So right before midnight, 06. This is midnight. I'm sorry, it's on the right-hand side here. The upper right-hand side is the time. So there's 08, so that's 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and it has officially sleet on the ground by 3 a.m. in Birmingham. Tennessee, 6 a.m., and there is a half of an inch of sleet on the ground, according to this, in Birmingham by 6 a.m. in the morning. Now, I think, again, that'd be mostly in areas. I don't think that'd be on the road unless it's coming down so freaking hard it can't help it. And I think the intensity could be there for some of that. Now, you can see after 6 a.m., the number doesn't go up anymore. The 0.6, so it seems to be over with in Birmingham by then, but migrating across the rest of Alabama. Up here in Walker County, it has a 1.4 inches of sleet. That's a lot. That's a lot of sleet. But also wants to mix it with a snowfall. Let's just see, because we haven't looked at this whatever snow. The model still wants to produce like these bomb areas of snow. Still at this point, it's not the snow thing's not totally over with, and it wants to produce snow in some wild places that would kind of be heavy. And now the new model, this is a brand new model again. It's somewhat theoretical yet, but it's now producing almost 5 inches of snow in Etowah County, in Gadsden. I don't know. That's the model, and I just don't know that I can believe that, but I guess it's possible. And still has like some snow across northern Jefferson County, Coleman at 5.5 inches. Up here in northwestern Winston County, there's 4.5 inches, and still has a big dart here in North Alabama in Florence along the Tennessee River with some snow. I saw it today back into Arkansas. I saw it all start out with some really heavy snowfall, and that's quite possible. Timothy Meads is watching. Dave Coffey, what's up, Dave? It's good to see you when you came down here. Tim Wright. Oh, Suzanne Vest. Suzanne Vest asked about Penny. And for some of you knew who Penny was. Penny was a chicken that I found on the side of the road many years ago. And I was just talking earlier, Penny used to do the weather forecast with me. It was really a Rhode Island red chicken that I used to have like over my shoulder. And she would do some of the weathercasts with me. But I found her on the side of the road during a snowstorm one time, and it was right after I'd had a stroke in Denver, Colorado. So I was somewhat rehabbing at the time, and so was she. She is a little bitty chicken on the side of the road in Mont Eagle, Tennessee. During a snowstorm, I found her and brought her home, and she lived with me for 4 more years after that. She had 4 of the best years a chicken could possibly have, I guarantee. I used to take her to Chick-fil-A all the time. She loved it. She ate the fries. But, Penny is no longer with us. Penny passed away over the summer. But she was wonderful. Jeff Champion, Timothy Meads, thanks for, yes, you're more than welcome. Brad Radisi says, hey, Dave Coffey. See, Brad didn't know that I knew Dave. But doesn't everybody know Dave? Yes, Don, I miss Penny. Look, I've reunited two old friends together again. Brad Adisi, Dave Coffey. They've met up again. They might meet for coffee. You just don't know. That's wonderful. Yeah, Donna was always a big supporter of Penny and used to watch all those videos. I had a wonderful time. I had many dogs and many cats in my lifetime, and I'd had chickens, but I never named one, and I never took care of it to rehab it. But everybody there in the neighborhood was so wonderful. Penny ended up having a bunch of views. If you never saw Penny, pull off of my page for just 1 second here so I can look something up here, Jarvis, if you don't mind. Jarvis, if you're still here, if you've gone, bingo. Florida State mentions. Oh, so this is okay. Dave bashes Brett. The stream. So this is LSM bingo. This is some of the stuff. Just read that for just a second because that's really crazy stuff. No, I like all of those. Who made those up? Did you make those up? I like the Dave Rambles. I haven't mentioned Braves baseball yet, though. We did get a late start. I mentioned my time in Birmingham. Did I mention it? I didn't mention audio mismatch failures. Those are great, and I gotta look at them in just a second. Hold on. Oh, come on. Oh, you got to show this. The new AI thing. I mean, we can look at that again. The new AI thing, when you do a search, a Google search, and I just put in Facebook Weatherman Chicken, it says, the Facebook post, Weatherman found new best friend in chicken. Did you see that, Jarvis? The chicken's name was Penny. How does it know all that crap? That is scary. That is unbelievably scary. But actually, so one of the way that I meet new people, not what you were thinking, is I tell them after I've talked to them for a little bit, I say, yeah, I'd always mention that I do the weather, but I say, yeah, I had this famous chicken one time. Just Google Weatherman chicken, and when you do, I just want to show you. Look at how many thousands of times that story went to different places on the internet. I mean, it just went all over the place, all over the country, actually. Different media outlets picked it up. But there's page after page after page from TikTok, I mean, all over the place, of where this story went viral about my chicken. And is this going to pull it up? No. It says, this guy is best friends with a chicken. Yeah, she ate corn, so what of it? But that's all. I love this, by the way. That's a dog. He's Buddy. He's throwing a temper tantrum. We're not allowed to do this, though. Get off of that for a second. Hold on. We're not supposed to see that either. Whoa. Let's get back to this. That's not it. Anyway, so we had 15 million views on the dodo with a chicken. So, Tamara, love seeing Penny. Thank you so much. That's very sweet. Jeff Mathis, good to hear from you. Pamela, I love Penny. Cheryl, you were always so great with Penny. Pull my iPad back up for just a second. Because now we're all loving on Penny. Cheryl, Mrs. Penny. Josh Burnham, Mrs. Penny. Josh loved Penny. Used to send me all kinds of food and stuff. Diane Baker. Kathleen posted a chicken the other day and asked if it was Penny, and she told me she had passed away. Emily Wells. Yep. Suzanne, I'm sorry, David. These are all sweet, guys. Thank you so much. I didn't really talk about when Penny, I think Penny, I actually think Penny ate a bad cicada. I truly do. It was when they emerged out of the ground, and I don't know. It just kind of all was too convenient when that sort of happened, that she got sick, because she was great. She was riding on my golf cart one day, and 2 days later, I had to put Penny down because she was not well at all. But it's nice seeing these videos. She used to follow me around. She was a chicken. All right, I know you don't want to talk about that anymore. Nancy, she remembers the day I got her. That's right. Got her and watch her jump in the golf cart. And I'd say, Penny, let's go for a ride. And she'd jump up there and go for a ride. I don't know who that woman is. Yes, I do. She was the person who helped me save Penny. That was Sharon. And Penny was such a wonderful person. I'm getting them mixed up. Penny was a wonderful pet. It just goes to show you, if you love on something enough, it's always going to give you a shot. All right, let's get back to the weather. And let's just see the radar, see what's going on. Oh my gosh, check it out. So all this stuff is getting closer. Kind of feel like we're watching Santa on NORAD. And it's getting a little bit closer, and a lovely headline. Winter storm to slam the south. Kind of already has slammed the south. Kind of already moved into Arkansas. Those are going to be problem areas tonight that are going to have driving problems just with what's on the ground and the likelihood of it refreezing. But, a little bit of let up, I think, is going on everywhere across the southeast, with the exception of a few areas. If you look at this, it totally looks like Armageddon, like the Snowmageddon that we had started out with. All this stuff is not as severe as that actually looks, but I think the changeover is trying to occur. And this stuff down to the south, this is where we're thinking this stuff, leading stuff right here, coming into Tuscaloosa probably here in an hour or so. This is when we're going to know. Ellen Morrison is going to call everybody. She said she would give everybody a buzz and let you know what's falling in Lamar County, Alabama, when it actually comes down to the ground. We are all waiting with bated breath to actually see what it's going to look like, how it's going to actually look. And the Birmingham radar is beginning to show this. Now, this is a little plume that should probably be hitting the ground by now up here in Marion County. Up in Marion County, the GWX radar. All right. So I want you to, here's another thing. Because here's the other thing that's happening. So the Birmingham radar beam, from there to here, so the beam height is 8,000 feet to all this stuff up here from Birmingham. That's where the radar beam is going, 8,000 feet. Maybe take this full screen for just a second, Jarvis, if you can, because I'm actually going to prove a point. 8,000 feet, and the radar beam is looking at snowfall from Birmingham, because this is the Birmingham radar. Now, let's do this. Let's go to the radar where all this stuff is, and I'll click on GWX, which is Columbus, Georgia, and you see the big donut hole? So what was showing up as all snow to here is Columbus, Mississippi. What did I say? I'm sorry, Columbus. People know. Columbus, Mississippi. You just ruined the whole point of what I was talking about, Jarvis. Brandon Jarvis. Notice this is nothing. It's like a potato, but this is nothing up in here with the actual radar that's on the ground here, GWX, in Columbus, Mississippi. And that's because it's not hitting the ground. Did I make common sense? The radar in Birmingham shows snow, and tons of it. We talked about how it was going to evaporate. So if you look at the radar out of Mississippi, notice how much it evaporated. It's not making it to the ground. So you can see it on the radar for a long, long time. And vice versa. The other thing you can see is that the GWX radar in Columbus, Mississippi also has snow down here in Hoover and in Birmingham. But you know what the Birmingham radar has? Nada. That's because it's pointed down at the ground. The radar beam is lower in Birmingham. And so that's what's going on. Terry Ballman is with us tonight. Terry, so great to hear from you. Bill is also with us. Also, if AI looked at all the model runs for the last 10 years, would it be as accurate? Would the model runs be as accurate? Yeah, I think they're more accurate. It's just the long range stuff. It goes out 14, 16 days, and it's crap. There's no sense in looking at anything that's over 200 hours. Terry, so great to hear from you. You've always been really kind to me. I really appreciate it. I hope everything is really going well with you, my friend. Terry's a tremendous person, a wonderful weather enthusiast there down in the Birmingham area. Val Bagley is watching. Nancy, let's see. Karen Arnold is also watching. And that's kind of where we are. And I know it looks pretty exciting. And it kind of is exciting to know that it's at least finally getting here. And pretty quickly. I mean, whatever's coming is coming in pretty quickly now into down in Utah, Demopolis, and Linden. I think some of this might be sleet. And it might not be melting as quickly as the snowfall would be. The sleet would be traveling. Its terminal velocity would be a lot more, obviously, and it would also be coming down fast enough to where it could not, maybe not melt. But the radar is certainly beginning to fill up here. The Birmingham radar is beginning to fill up here, and the computer still believes that a lot of this is snowfall. And it probably is where the radar beam is hitting, because the radar beam is still so far away at this point that it's pointing way up into these 7,000 feet, way up into the clouds at the moment, or well, not really the clouds, but at the base, and starting to show the snowfall there and when it might be falling. Anybody else got any cool video? Jason Cooley, I see Jason's on the roadway somewhere. Jason Cooley, he is in, Jason's in Texas. That's the video above me. And Brett's video is frozen. Brett is at, no, that's Brett. Okay, so Brett's along the roadway, and they're already out of whatever. They're in Goodwin, Arkansas, and they're away from really anything. I see a little bit of snow falling into their headlights. But Brett is driving back into the Florence area, I believe, so he can get some bread and milk. Tom Stroud is somewhere in Tulsa, Oklahoma. This is Tulsa, Oklahoma. I don't know exactly what road it is, but Tom Stroud is driving along there in his vehicle with a lot of heavy snow that fell in the area today into Oklahoma, and that snow is beginning to let up, actually. You can see there's still some falling, but when your visibility is this high, it's very likely not snowfall anymore. It's very likely going to be rain, freezing rain, or some kind of sleet when you can see that far ahead of you, or the precipitation is really, really light. But it looks like he's got windshield wipers on, doesn't it? I sort of get the feeling that that is the case. Ryan Sanders is watching. Sammy Gilliland is watching. Sammy, I'm play pickleball with your cousin, I believe it is. Sammy down here. Cricket. She said to tell you hello. Terry's got to be at work at 10 a.m. in the morning, playing it by ear. Think you're all right. Don Schultz is watching. Kyle Gregg, thank you. Anita Coley. And Terry, I'm doing pretty well, buddy. I really appreciate everything you did to help me get set up after I had my health problems. And I am totally retired here in Florida. I fish part of the day as much as I can, and try to stay occupied that way. But obviously, I can't just forget about the weather, because I still love it, and I love it as much as I did when I was a kid. So that's why we're doing this here tonight. We don't make money here, by the way. Obviously, you can tell by our graphics in our studio. We make absolutely no money whatsoever. This is not a money-making venture here at all. It's really just because we like the weather so much. And the guy on the other end is Brandon Jarvis, who's a good friend and loves the weather too. He's a neurosurgeon somewhere up there in the Carolinas. I believe these are people. Tom, he's oh, that looks terrible. Show his video. Now look at the trees. I think this is ice. Is that not ice on the trees? Where's he at? Is it ice? He's in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and still some snow falling, you can see. That's a great, he's smart. He pulled in somewhere where you can actually see what's happening. But that's Tulsa, Oklahoma, where the snow is still falling. But there's also freezing rain, because you can see it there in the trees. And that's when you get power outages. Sort of our fear that we were truly looking at in earnest yesterday is whether or not we just got tons of freezing rain, and it could be somewhat like that. Diane Baker, this is absolutely no problem. Pat Yarborough Busby is watching. Laura Taylor's watching tonight. Timothy Meads is in Gadsden. He is patiently waiting up near Nakalula Falls. Timothy, I grew up there. I went to school at R.A. Mitchell Elementary School there at Nakalula Falls. I used to play at the falls before there was actually a really good fence there. We used to go underneath the falls. There were lots of caves down there. Had a lot of fun living up there at Nakalula Falls. Emily says she'd love to make it up to Nakalula Falls. I still think, I do believe there's snow up there, you guys. I believe the falls would be a beautiful picture tomorrow morning. Nakalula Falls. Somebody needs to take a picture of the falls or a video of Nakalula Falls and send it to me, because I'd love to see it. I do remember several snows there when I was a child living there up on the mountain, and it's so incredibly beautiful when it snows. I do remember Nakalula Falls when it was almost all the way frozen. I mean, there was some water coming off of Black Creek and coming across the falls, but I do remember seeing these huge icicles when I was a child at Nakalula Falls, these big, big icicles that would almost go down to the water. I don't remember the year that is, but now that that memory was provoked, I think I'm going to go back in and look at that. And somebody from Gadsden, there's a Facebook page that says, I love Gadsden, or if you grew up in Gadsden, or something like that. Somebody's been talking about a major cold weather event that I've sort of been looking into as well. That back in, it was originally thought it was 39, but I think it's 1940 actually, when the Coosa River froze over there in Gadsden, Alabama. And there are pictures of cars. I've seen a picture of a Model T that was on the Coosa River back in, and it would have been, I've really studied, I went back and looked at a lot of stuff. I haven't mentioned it on Facebook yet, but I went back and I sort of looked at all that, and it was the winter of 39 and 1940, and it did not make it above freezing for 36 days in a row. The temperature in Etowah County in Gadsden didn't make it above freezing. So the Coosa River had frozen over enough to where a Model T could drive on it. And I thought that was interesting. Debbie Franks is watching. Jamie Slayton Jones is watching tonight because I owe her money. Ryan Sanders, what about this particular system has worked against us, Dave? Would it be the track of the low pressure center? Yeah, Yeah, that's partly because it's backed up. It's come a little further north than a lot of people thought. Maybe the tilt of the IP of the LP, excuse me, and obviously being in Alabama is the biggest factor working against us. Ha ha ha! You're right, Ryan. But once again, Ryan, I think the thing working against us the most was the length of time between the cold air and the actual system showing up was a little bit too long. And I've been saying this for a couple of days. What air you had is the air you were going to have to work with across the South. There was no injection of cold air coming again. And, you know, the clouds are a warming factor immediately. I know it was cold. It was really, really cold. It had been in the 20s a couple of times. But just, you know, it just never really looked like the whole column was going to stay cold enough. It looked like it was going to be a little injection of warm air, a tongue of warm air in the middle that would thaw Sammy the Snowflake. And I know it hasn't totally been a bust yet, and we're talking about it's maybe a bust back west, and a lot of people are saying that. But because somebody somewhere is going to send a picture of 4 or 5 inches of snow tomorrow, if you get up in time to see it, and you take the picture before it rapidly melts, B, is that Heath? I want to see Heath. Show Brett Adair's camera really quick, because Heath Lawler, give me $1. Heath Lawler is in the shot. Heath waved at the camera. If you would, Keith, give us a big wave. That wasn't a wave. They're Chester's. I told you. I knew they were going to be looking for food. This is Brett Adair and Heath Lawler. And Heath is explaining all the complexities of driving in a winter storm. Notice his hand movements. This is how high the snow was right there. And then this is when his truck rolled over. And then they got it back up on its wheels again, says Heath. He's telling the other guy, he says, listen, if it weren't for this Chester's, we would have nothing to eat. We haven't eaten all day long. See you, bud. You need to go in there because there's a guy without a coat on. So that was Heath. He was explaining the whole deal, and he did it there in just a couple of seconds. Who? Steve, a Southern gentleman, was presenting the best weather content on YouTube. Where is he? Snow chickens, it's what we do. Ah, that's pretty cool. Josh spent a lot of time at the falls. David, I'm going to try to get up there with my drone. Who said that? Oh, somebody. Who said that, though? Josh said he's going to get up there. That'd be cool, Josh. He does, doesn't he? If we could pull that out, that'd be cool. From Knuckle Falls or just drone footage? Oh, that'd be great. If Josh would show us that drone footage of Knuckle Falls, I could keep all 23 of the people who are watching. Tammy Thompson Moore is watching. Jonathan Ritchie is watching. Melissa Sisk George is also watching. Anita Coley says, take care of yourself. Always, Anita. You know how to get in touch with me. Stan Leo's watching. And Jamie Slayton Jones has now met up with Coffee. They're now discussing... Dave Coffey has met another friend who he had not known was still alive, and they are now talking. So we have brought friends together who haven't seen it. Josh Burnham, this is his video from Knuckle Falls. I wonder when this was, but check that out. So what you're looking at is the bridge there at Knuckle Falls, and this is the other side of the falls, away from the Jack's Hamburger, which is on the behind you. But that's some of the icicles there at Knuckle Falls. He said last year, I'm trying to remember when it was that cold for the icicles to be there. January the 17th of last year. So, just 8 days away from now. That's what it looks like with the blowback. And, oh, how cool is this? Josh, I didn't know you did this. Dude, I may have gotten my first kiss. See that big rock right there? I may have gotten my first kiss right there behind that rock when I was 12, 13. Cool place you could walk. I don't know if you still can walk, if they let you walk all the way around. We used to walk all the way around and back down Black Creek on the other side. And another thing that somebody just told me they do is they have fly fishing underneath the falls. Now they bring in trout and they have fly fishing down there. That'd be so cool too, for that to happen. How pretty was that? That was beautiful. Josh, you got any more video that you can give us? We're losing viewers fast. So any kind of video you come up with that's really super good that I can say, for people who aren't watching, I can say, nah, you missed, this is what you missed, Josh Burnham's video. One thing. Tammy Thompson Moore is watching. Jonathan Ritchie's watching. I'm reading off all these people that are watching and then they're gone, it looks like. But anyway. What was the other one? Inappropriate bathroom references, accidental text messages shown on the air. I got nothing to hide. What are you talking about? Now, the iPad failure is real. Mispronounces a name. Who's David bashes Brett? I haven't really bashed Brett yet. It was actually Heath I was bashing. The stream gets muted. That should be like up at the top left-hand side. It should be the first thing that you could come up with. Random chuckling. It's really due to the fact the guy in my ear is kind of funny. Late start. David rambles. I haven't mentioned Braves baseball. If you want to talk Braves baseball, I would do that. Vaguely inappropriate comment. What was that? When was there? I never say anything inappropriate. My time in Birmingham. Did you mention that when I worked at the Weather Channel? Because, I worked at the Weather Channel with Jim Cantori. Let me see. We'll try to get Jim on. We'll try to get Jim on before this is over with. I'm never an hour late. What are you talking about? That's stupid. Now, I don't know who did that, but that's not true. You broke their heart by saying no snow, so they left. Kip Allred. You're probably right, Kip. Becky Burns Osborne is watching. Becky. Diane wants to see some beach pictures. Did you just say that, Diane? Because I can show you some beach pictures. Last year during the big freeze, they built a trail this past year to go down there. Josh says they built a trail to go down to Nakalula Falls to go down there. There always was a trail there, dude. I might have made it. Back to Baldwin County. Back in 75 or 76, a Baldwin County snowstorm, 75, 76. It traveled to Tampa and gave them a jolt. Ice storm was 75, 76. I was alive then, but barely. Well, maybe I can look that up. Steve? I'll try to look that up for you. Steve says back in 75 or 76, it was an ice storm and a snowfall that impacted Baldwin County and then the Gulf, and it traveled to Tampa and gave them a jolt. And I'll try to look that up. I'm going to let our staff do that. And it's like, hold on a second. Did y'all see that? If y'all could get on that and do some research about that, I appreciate that. He said it was 75, 76. If y'all could do that. They built stairs to go down on the campground side. Oh, that is new. They built stairs to go down on the campground side. The only way you could do that before was sort of a terminal situation on the campground side of Nakalula Falls. You want to show the radar again? And well, I know we're still showing the radar. I thought he'd gone away for just a couple of seconds. Snow, something's coming in. Yeah, something's coming into West Alabama. I don't know if Ellen's gone to bed. It's 10:20. Ellen Morrison, who's supposed to be watching over in Lamar County for us to let us know about first flakes. And she's there in Southern Lamar County. I haven't heard from her, though. Christy McGinnis is watching. And Nancy Lambert wants to see the beach or a water pick that she can use for a screensaver. Nancy, that's so sweet. Let me see if I can find something. Get off of my iPad here for a second. Don't throw that crap back up. Put something else up. Somebody said Brett's showing some propane prices or something. Oh, wow. Why don't I have beach pictures? Oh, let me show you this. Get rid of that for a second. Let me show this. Yeah, can you do it full screen? So this is my canoe, and you may have seen this. I may have shown it to you already. But this is before sunrise here in Panama City Beach, Florida. This is St. Andrews Bay, and oftentimes I'll take my canoe and I'll go out in the mornings. I'm not a morning person except for these times when sunrise is so stunning here in Panama City Beach. I used to think sunrise and sets were the most beautiful in Denver, Colorado, and they still are, but Panama City Beach, that's sunrise. And there's a story behind this, because a friend of mine had sent me a photograph of from a restaurant there. It's called Uncle Ernie's. She sent a photograph of what it looked like down there, the beautiful sun set. And I said, actually, if you look, I'm down here looking back at you from my canoe. And that was me out in my canoe out in the bay there. I thought it was funny at the time. You may not, I don't hear any laughter, but I'm here by myself, so give me a break. That again is a sunrise and a repeat of what I just showed you about the canoe, but something else is coming up here pretty quickly. Kip Allred says he's got cameras in Sullivan, Alabama, but not a drop is falling. And this is coming back in at sunset. Beautiful area here in Panama City. This is just on the other side of the bridge, the 98 bridge there in Panama City, but just stunning weather. And again, I promise you, if you guys come back, anybody comes down here, you don't call me and let me know, I'd be really upset. This is my backyard. I got a lake, a pond in the back of my yard. Now, this is pretty upsetting. So we had to go back out of this. No, don't go back out of this. We had a fight, me and my director producer. And I told him not to stretch the video from left to right. Don't stretch the video because things are going to look out of proportion. Now, I've gained weight. Since I had my little health thing, I've gained weight. But I've not gained this much weight. That's not the way it looks in real life, bro. And you're not going to fix it. Because I'm 30 pounds lighter in real life than that picture shows right there. That's horrible. Get off of that, because I'm getting that. If everything's going to be stretched, I'm not going to do it. You can do it back. Jason Cooley. Jason is in Texas. He's still in Texas. He was in Texas. He's still in Texas. Still snowing in Texas, apparently. He's in Wisdom, Texas. Never heard of it, but somewhere around there. Wisdom, Texas is where it's going on. Listen, for you folks in West Alabama, something should be. Terry, good night. Thank you for watching. Nancy, I'll get you a photograph. I'll get you some pictures that I think are beautiful enough to be on your a desktop kind of a thing. Well, that's pretty cool. Show that. That's Jason Cooley again, wherever he is in Texas. And snow is still falling pretty heavily there. If somebody there sends me a picture in Messenger, make sure you tell me here in the Facebook app. Let me know so I can look for it, because I don't want one to be over there that can't see. And tomorrow, if we all go to bed here in a little bit and wake up tomorrow and you start taking pictures, just send them to me and I'll get them on. But here's the radar at the moment. And the Birmingham radar is trying to say this is just a total rain event again. At least at the moment, that is all rain coming into Tuscaloosa. This is a mix on I-22, right on the other side of the Mississippi-Alabama border there near Hamilton on I-22, coming out of Carbon Hill and going on over to Tremont into Tupelo, Mississippi. But there's where the changeover does occur. Right there, it says that's rain. It says this is a mix somewhere in the middle, and so on. And again, for you folks there in Double Springs, Arley, Addison, it says snow, but again, I just don't think any of it's hitting the ground. I think it's going to take a little while for it to hit the ground. Connie Asbeek. Did I say that right? I probably didn't say that right at all. But Connie, thank you for watching. Joshua Blanchard's with us tonight. David Gillespie's out there. Kip, thank you again for that information. I really appreciate it. While we've been talking, the model is updated once again. Let's see if it says anything different. This is the HRR model. And going forward in time, kind of what it is predicting is happening. The green, again, is going to be all rain. The purple is sleet. And I'm frozen. Are we off the air? Hello? But I look like I've fallen asleep. Yeah, I knew it was going to happen. I'm not asleep, folks, and apparently we're still on the air, but we're going through the model. 3 a.m., and it's a sleet fest in central Alabama. Or so the model believes. We're still looking at heavy sleet around 3 o'clock in the morning. 3, 4, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., and by 6 a.m. it looks like the sleet is truly trying to end in central Alabama. The other way, when it's frozen, just made me feel bad. That's 6 a.m. 7 a.m. 6, 7 a.m. And again, this is a new model. The model that I'm showing you now updates every hour on the hour, so I show it to you as soon as it updates. And this is new, so that goes over to sleet and then snow there in northeast Alabama. And that's when I think you folks in Gadsden, you could possibly wake up to really heavy snow. To begin with, it's going to end really quickly, and I caution you, if you're sending your kids out in it, put a life jacket on them. It's going to be the highest water content of a snowflake you've ever seen. You could drown just by looking straight up into it. There is nothing about this. If your kids are going to make snowballs out of this and throw it at your sister or brother, somebody's going to the hospital. This is not that fluffy kind of snow that you can get over without having serious injury. The Holy Name of Jesus Hospital would be really busy there in Gadsden. I don't think it's called that anymore. Waiting on the blue here in Gadsden. Kimberly Hines there in Gadsden. I know. I get it, Kimberly. Used to do the same thing. I used to listen to the radio. I'd stay up all night in Gadsden, Etowah County. I'd stay up all night waiting for. I was trying to think of the person's name. Harry Butler in Gadsden, Alabama. Harry would read the school closings, and I'd stay up all night waiting for the school closing. And then because I stayed up all night, I was too tired to play in it. I had to sleep for most of the time. That's how obsessed I was with snow in Gadsden. And it just completely takes it out of the picture and into a totally rainy day by 2 p.m. in Birmingham, Alabama. I think the only thing I can say with true confidence is what happens in the morning stays in the morning and quickly finishes up sometime thereafter. And I guess the only other thing that I'd really like to do at this point is to look at where the temperatures are going. And let's specifically where the temperature is going in, let's say, Birmingham. And it's going nowhere. Well, it went all the way up to 39. So the temperature in Birmingham, I told, this is what I was talking about yesterday. Cloud cover always makes the temperature go way up. And you can see it went up to 39. Wow. Was the dew point really 9? So this is pretty interesting. (1853), 6:53. The temperature was 37. I need to back up actually. So 5 p.m. 1653, 5 p.m. It was 43, and the dew point was 9. So the relative humidity was 25%. 43 over 9. That's incredibly dry. And then the cloud deck really came in, and it went down to 37 over 9, 37 over 13, and now the dew point's still at 12, 37 over 12. So there's tremendous dry air still over in east and northeast, central Alabama, but really from there off to the northeast. There's a lot of room for the thermometer to come down, is what I'm saying. The dew point, the lower that dew point is, the more the actual temperature can fall. So it can still fall somewhere and end up somewhere around 32. And I truly believe that's what the model is looking at now, is how super dry it still remains. I'm surprised at that. At 34% relative humidity, and we still have stuff on the radar coming down at the moment. So Diane, I miss you too there in Birmingham. Very kind of you to say that. Brian Bentley is watching. Donna says, it'll always be the Holy Name of Jesus Hospital to me too. I worked there. I worked in housekeeping at the Holy Name of Jesus Hospital for many, many years. I was a really good speed buffer is what I was. And I could mop a floor. I did the 6th and 7th floors at the Holy Name of Jesus Hospital when I was a kid. Melva Wilkinson is watching. Melva, thank you so much. Don't know where you're from, but if you want to tell us, give us a weather report. Any of you there, if you're still watching. The number's falling fast. Bev Beard is watching somewhere up there. I don't know if she's up in Michigan or way down south in Florida, Bev. Will Daniels is watching. Connie is watching. Quite a few people still watching, and thank you. Jamie Stroud gives me a name. It's Josie Barnett, says Jamie. Is Jamie Terry? Is it Tom Stroud? Jamie, are you and Tom related? Bev's in Florida. So am I, Bev. We're in the same state. And we don't get together? I think y'all are on a different part of the state, though. Y'all are in that really, really deep part of Florida. But I miss y'all. Hey, where are we now? We're going to look at the radar again. She's in Vero Beach. Well, no, give me 1 sec. Tonight's show is brought to you by Cheerios, if I had some, but I don't have any Cheerios with me at the moment. I should stop. Terry Lynn Cohen is watching. Terry, it's great to see you. We were talking about Penny a while ago, Terry. Jamie Stroud is in Sylacauga. Jamie, are you related to Tom Stroud? And I may not be saying that right. I apologize if I'm not. Debbie Boggs is watching. You know why they're watching now? Because Span just went off. I think. I don't know if he's wearing suspenders or not. That's when you know it's for real. Have I name dropped? I went from Cantori to Span. Where's Brett? What's he doing? Would you text Brett and just ask him? Great to see you too, Terry. She's not related. Jamie's not related to Tom Stroud, who's one of our watchers. He's got a live camera. I don't know if you've noticed, Jamie, but we have a Tom Stroud who's on one of our videos tonight. He's been doing video for us tonight. What do you think is going to happen in Sylacauga in Alexander City? Josie Barnett wants to know what I think is going to happen. I think you're going to go about 3 or 4 in the morning. I still believe you're going to go to some sleet. I think everybody, I think most of you, if you're still watching out there, you're going to see some winter weather. I don't believe you're not going to see any. I think you're going to see winter weather. And I believe it'll be a couple of hours worth. I don't believe in snowfall. I'm having a hard time of seeing a lot of snowfall. And I guess I feel like I'm being generous when I say I think there's an hour's worth for many. The further north and east away from Birmingham you go, you're likely to see more snow. I would be surprised if Etowah County, if you didn't see snow in Etowah County or St. Clair County for that matter. But down a little bit further in Sylacauga and Childersburg, that's going to be a tough one. The dew point temperatures are lower than I thought they would be. They're lower than I really expected them to be. And the reason I think that's significant is that because of that, we're going to end up seeing the temperatures fall a little bit more than first thought, I think. I think we end up with temperatures going down a little bit quicker than what everybody was probably originally thinking. But these are the dew points that are still hanging around out there, and they're low. Brandon, pop these up, because this is, now, I can't draw on this, but Jarvis, hello? Can you pop up my iPad? There you go. I could have done that, but these dew points, you can see, these are the dew points. This is the point to where the temperature would have to go to be saturated. Well, that just is a measure of how dry the atmosphere is, how dry the air is. 16 degrees is the dew point for Birmingham, but the actual temperature is right at 37 degrees. So 16 and 37 gives us a dew point depression of 20, roughly. So as soon as the precipitation starts, the column will cool. And it's such a hard call. How much is the column going to come down and the dew point come up? And where do they meet? Because that's classically what is going to be, the temperature of most importance. When the two meet, do they meet at 33? Is it 33 over 33? Or is it 32 over 32 or 32 over 31? And that's truly the thing that not a whole lot of people can really tell you at this point. But the other thing I do see is that temperatures are getting even warmer down to the south. Meridian's now at 40 and Montgomery's at 38. Tuscaloosa's at 40 and it's cloudy. You're not going to get any more cold weather coming in. And even places like Huntsville, Florence in the low 30s. I have no doubt it starts out as really heavy snow in some of those places. Big, wet, half-dollar sized snowflakes. I mean, they're going to be like, I don't know, big. They're not going to be that big, but I don't have anything smaller to prove my point. They're going to be big snowflakes. And so they'll accumulate pretty quickly. Maybe get a couple pictures, and that'd be great. And maybe somebody's child can see snow for the first time and point and, make really sweet words. Morgan Huey is watching. Janice Renfro is watching. And Jamie Stroud says, where is Brett at the moment? God, Jamie. If I just knew where Brett was. We were friends for a long, long time, Brett and I. Pretty close friends. Normally by now he would have texted me and said, hey, Dave, what are you doing? But he really doesn't care that much. Terry, that's the sweetest thing Terry, that's so far, that's the sweetest thing anybody said to me all day long, except for something else that somebody else said to me earlier, which was almost equally as sweet. But Terry, I know you love Penny very much. Terry Lynn Cohen, who's on tonight, used to text me all the time asking about how Penny the chicken was. Josh says, sadly, I no longer have Hardee's. He no longer has a Hardee's near him. And can't recall who asked him if he did, but I'm sure somewhere up there somebody said, hey, Josh, have you still got a Hardee's near you? Because I'm sure Josh wouldn't just come out of nowhere and go, I no longer have a Hardee's near me. Or maybe you would. Okay, I knew I was missing something. I'm always missing the question before the punchline. Steve, I caught speckled trout yesterday. How do you know this? I ain't going nowhere. I like it. I'm back in the South again. I caught trout yesterday. Speckled trout, they when it gets cold, they come in the canal right up to my house. I mean, it's insane. I caught so many trout yesterday. I caught more than the law allows. Sleet falling in Hamilton. Josh, do we really have our first? Jamie, that's now somebody else is saying something sweet. I'll say I think you're the coolest weatherman. I watched you on WBRC, and she did one of these. Jamie Stroud, thank you, Jamie. Really, really sweet. How long do you think the wedge hangs on in East Alabama, 31/13 in Lineville at the moment? 31? I think it It can't sustain itself for very long, Eric, through the night tonight. There's a warm front coming. Diane Baker wants to know, in Birmingham, should you leave the faucets running? No. Not a hard freeze tonight at all, Diane. If we get down to freezing, it's going to be for the short amount of time that the ice pellets are falling in the morning. But that's a really quick 32 degrees, and then boom, you're right back up to 40, I think, by the afternoon. Dot Harold is watching tonight. Michelle Tolbert is watching. Thank you all for watching tonight. Really, really appreciate that. We're going to look at the model again. Well, let's go to the radar here very quickly. Don't want to forget about the weather while we're talking about all this stuff. The radar depiction is showing stuff beginning to move in, and we're going to confirm. Robin Braden, y'all are being so sweet. It says, miss you, David. Robin, thank you. I miss you too. That's just so sweet of you. I really appreciate you all saying that tonight. Made me feel good. I almost ditched this and went to karaoke tonight, but I didn't, and because I'm horrible at it, but all my friends love it. So, but I decided I wanted to do this because I have a lot of friends who are there in the state of Alabama that I just wanted to keep up with, and now you're all shouting out, and I really, really appreciate that, so thank you. Radar is showing that mixture now from the Birmingham radar. Now it shows as a all liquid sort of a rain, called rain thing coming in from the west, mixes it, doesn't mix it until you get into North Alabama. But I'll tell you what, the radar, this is one of those times when the radar is not really our friend when it comes to the type of precipitation, because the radar beam doesn't hang close to the ground. The radar beam, obviously, the ground goes away from the radar beam. The radar beam is straight, so the ground's going, curving underneath it. And literally, at this point, it's reading too high up into the cloud base, or too high up, really, in altitude at all, to give us a good depiction of what's actually happening here. The radar over in Mississippi, it's Columbus, Mississippi, is where this radar is from. It is still depicting just a general potpourri, if you will. That's spelled with a T. And there's the mix there across northern Mississippi, roughly from Oxford on through the rest of that area there. Brett's going to be pulling into Memphis here in just a few minutes, and I'd like to see if it's actually coming down to the ground in Memphis or not, or whether or not that's baloney or Huey. There's your mix. And this is supposed to be snow. Again, that's from the radar in Mississippi. So, yes, it's snow aloft, but it's not reaching the ground yet. And that is some snow falling there over Hernando and South Haven. The rest of that area there, too. And I know, look at it. You think, oh, my gosh, it is snowing heavily here in Birmingham. And it is. But it's above the ground. It's all still above the ground. None of this is reaching the ground in through here. That is all snow that is still well above the ground, all the way down to Clear and Clanton and the rest of that area there. That's Virga. We call that Virga when it comes out of the cloud, but it doesn't make it all the way down to the ground. It gets evaporated. It is referred to as Virga. Sometimes you see that. You've probably seen this many times before. You didn't really know what it was called, but it's when you look up the cloud and you see all what looks like it's coming out of the cloud. Those are ice crystals mostly coming out of a cloud like that, but they evaporate before getting down to the ground. So we refer to that as Virga, and there's tons of it right now going on over Alabama, central and north Alabama at the moment. It's kind of extensive here, and what you really need, if you're a snow lover, I ought to preface this whole thing. We ought to have two sides of this. We ought to frame this out, break the frame in half, and go pro snow and no snow on the other side, because there's really two ways of looking at it. You either want to see some snow or you don't want to. It's not it's more like I really would like to see some snow, or I really don't want to, is what's sort of been showing up through the week. But if I'm pro snow if it doesn't hurt anybody, and it rarely does snow hurt anybody, yet especially in the deep south. If you just wait a few minutes, it's gone. But we all assume there's going to be that some kind of period over a 3 or 4 hour period that we really need milk. And so if we didn't buy 3 or 4 gallons the day before, we could go into a milk, withdrawal. And I'm kind of that way. I can go without milk and cereal for a couple of days, but I can't go without it for long. So I understand why you need to go to the grocery store and grab it up. I do get that. There's no judgment here whatsoever, because it could be almost noon tomorrow before you could actually get it. Virgus sucks. That should be. I'll get that. Kimberly Hines wrote that in, and I'll get that. Hey to Olin. Tell Olin I said hello. He said howdy. Olin Baird said howdy. Virga, I need it. Kimberly Hines says Virga sucks. It was with an I, Kimberly, and I'm not spell checking. It's with an I, but we ought to get a shirt made out of that. I'd wear it if you'd wear it. Pam Guthrie is watching tonight. So where do we stand here at the moment? That's pretty much where we stand. Let's go to the BMX radar because it's really telling the truth. The other one was a big fat lie. Because if you look at the radar here at the moment, all that is again showing up as snowfall, but it's not. And everything, there's still that donut hole here around Birmingham. I mentioned this several days that I thought this was going to happen because it was so dry aloft. There'd be tremendous. I said a couple of hours. Now I think it's going to be 3 or 4 hours before any of this actually saturates the atmosphere enough to make it down to the ground. Maybe some of this stuff now in Winston County, and I got some people up there who've probably gone to bed now in Winston County in Arley, but our weather watchers up there. Kathy, you should be watching. I'd like to know if it's getting anywhere close to coming down to the ground here at the moment there in Winston County up near Smith Lake. There in northwest Alabama. Meridian, Mississippi, I believe that's all going to be truly just liquid at the moment. Rick Stotzer is watching. Stacy Reed's watching now. And Jared. Is it Hike? Jared is watching tonight, as well as Cindy Jones is watching also. Milk bread, eggs, pretty much gone here already. Nancy, that is incredible, isn't it? Because I get it. There's going to be a period between maybe 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. tomorrow where there might not be, driving would be hazardous to go get bread or milk. So I totally get why a lot of people bought it today or yesterday and bought it in bulk yesterday. Whoa. That's just, I seriously, watch this. Watch how much precip there is here on the outer edges, but also watch the dry wall right there as it comes in and how it just sucks this stuff up, and just all that dry air is now sucking up this water content. It should be driving the temperature down pretty quickly there, and I looked to find some temperatures in West Alabama to see how far this temperature is falling. This is a sort of a reaction that's taking place. Not sort of, it's a reaction taking place that, from a scientific point of view, is somewhat exciting to watch. It truly is, because you just really don't know where they're going to meet, how much of the saturation occurs and brings that temperature down. Temperature's not coming down because of some new Arctic front or something. Tonight, the temperatures are only going to drop because the precipitation is going to force them to. And so that's really all you're kind of looking at is, whether or not that happens. Also, there's another factor other than the actual cooling process of evaporation. Evaporation itself is a coolant It's a cooling process that takes place. But other than that, also, the precipitation up there, if it gets heavy enough, now it's going to be like sort of a frictionized, I don't know if frictionized is a word, but a friction deal to where you start dragging the air from what is up there, and enough precipitation comes down together. Now you're forcing air from aloft to come downward too. So there is that little factor, and it's probably something everybody's holding on. Snowing in Oxford, Mississippi, in 33, says Diane Baker. Terry, there'll be no black ice on the roads. Not tomorrow morning. There'd be no black ice. Everything that's on the road tomorrow, you should be able to see it very well. And if, for somebody who has to drive, and I know there are people who have to drive, there are people who have to go to work tomorrow, there are people who work at hospitals. I mean, I could go on and on, but a lot of people have to work tomorrow, no matter. So the things that you might encounter are going to be, I think, some piling up of sleep for a couple of hours in the morning. And when that takes place, it could make driving temporarily, it can make driving kind of bad early tomorrow morning. I still totally believe that's very likely in and around central Alabama. I'm going to be super interested to see, because over the next couple of hours, really, all this stuff is coming in, and it's heavy enough to force it to make it down to the ground. Earlier, it was kind of light precipitation, so it really wasn't forcing the precipitation to get all the way down to the surface. But now that it's heavier down here, and it looks like it's really picking up, now that it's heavier down here and over here toward Jackson, Mississippi, and you can see there's a huge blanket of precipitation coming in from southern Mississippi. That's the Jackson radar there in Mississippi. Yazoo City over to Vicksburg, Crystal Springs, Brookhaven, that area. Now that it's really starting to pick up and be transported northward, and you can really see that being transported, I think, best. Let me just do this and show you very quickly a satellite image of the whole storm system coming across and developing into the Gulf of Mexico and then coming northward. There's low pressure now, somewhere probably about right down in here, and the low pressure will track this way. And here's the thing, if you're a snow lover, then you needed that low pressure to be down in here and track this way just a little bit more. Any snowstorm we've had in Alabama sort of had that kind of a low pressure track. This low pressure, I mean, there are actually some signs of it coming right over central Alabama during the day tomorrow. And all that means is that with that kind of a track, southerly winds will be picking up as we go through the night tonight in all of these regions. And that's sort of the reason for everything that we've been talking about. 2.5 inches of snow there in Little Rock. This was an area forecast to have 10, I think. I believe it was like 10 in Little Rock was being projected by quite a few people. Oh, I can't do that. Let me get back to the radar here. BMX. A pretty cool image here. Lori Lassiter is watching. You wanted to make snow cream. I'm sorry, Terry. Michelle Dooley Sellers is watching. Michelle, I hope you are well tonight. And the big old cone of dry air is showing its ugly self right through here. Fun fact, Dave loses trivia. I don't lose trivia. I always win trivia. We won the national the local pub trivia contest for the year this year. For the year, not just last month. We won the local pub trivia contest for the year. Can you Oh, it says, yeah, okay. Dave loves trivia. I thought it said loses trivia. I'm having to squint. You know that, right? Because you stretched everything. I can't believe you stretched. The one thing I asked you not to stretch, you had to stretch it. Why'd you have to stretch it? You could pull it back in. There could be a little blue on both sides, and it could be the real Suzanne Cobb is watching, and I'm sorry you had to watch that. You're horrible. Erosion, just eroding it all away. Josh Burnham said it was doing something somewhere. Josh said, well, I heard it was snowing in Oxford, and we haven't really looked at those cameras over there. I know we got an Oxford camera, I think, don't we? It was Tupelo, not Oxford. Tupelo, Mississippi. And there it is. Come on. I don't know why this image isn't. Is it playing now? This is Tupelo, Mississippi. Can you see that? This is Tupelo, Mississippi, and it's live image. I don't know what the temperature is right now. I'm trying to get that out. Ooh, what was that all about? It did not like that. Let me pick another camera here. Let's go to that Addison. This is going to be just outside of Starkville, Mississippi. I don't see anything there. Let's see what's the big B doing right now. Brett is still tailgating a vehicle, and he's been doing that for a while. That's at Jackson, Mississippi. So he's just outside of Jackson at the moment, and still moving a little bit further east. I think he's probably going to be there for a little while. Who were the only two presidents ever elected to 2 non-consecutive terms? One was Grover Cleveland. Or was it Grover the cat that I'm thinking of? I think it was Grover Cleveland. Grover Cleveland was one of them. Was he not? Brett, you left Little Rock too soon. Now it's coming down, brother. Da, da, da. Yeah, I don't know who the other one was, though. I've had this question 1,000 times, I think. What else have we got? That's not it. Let's see Jason Cooley. Jason Cooley. Now, this is dry snow. Where is he at? Jason is in Bells, Texas. That's dry snow. That's what snow looks like. That is not going to be your snow anywhere in the state of Alabama, folks. That snow is made up of dry air in Bells, Texas. I don't know where that is, but I could probably look it up, and that's going to be really, really dry snow. That's pretty good to drive in, though, when it's like that. It makes it really simple to drive in. It's more kind of it's driving in dirt, really, when it gets to that point. Piney, Arkansas. It's snowing in Piney, but we can't do that because that guy's sitting on his couch. There are 46 people who are watching now the camera in Florence. That is showing absolutely nothing. The visibility is still high, so whatever is happening in Florence, Alabama is not, at the moment, it's not making it down to the ground. Used to get all the, there it is. That's what I wanted. Florence, Alabama. So Florence is at 35 degrees, and there's precipitation that's showing up on the radar image. And I kind of thought, so it'd be right there. Let's look at that. This is the last reading that was taken where it's 35 over 34. That's not, none of that's true. My apologies. I don't use this particular thing very often, and this is why I should not be rewarded with any kind of success whatsoever. This is Brett's, I believe this is this not Brett's little camera that he just put on the side of the road? You don't know? I think this is one of Brett's little surge cameras. And if you look really, really closely, I see ice hanging off of, do you see like ice? It looks like there on the grass. I'm not talking to myself, folks. There's another person there. He's just being a butt about it all and not speaking out loud. Oh, so Brett's in West Memphis, and they are still tailgating somebody, and this time in a very small vehicle and still behind a trucker. But I think if there were snowfall, you could see it on the West Memphis. This is the bridge going over the mighty Mississippi River in West Memphis, Arkansas, about to be East Memphis, Tennessee. And coming on through there, and you can see nothing is showing up on his windshield. So again, it's very much virga there as well. Even in Memphis, Tennessee, it's not reaching the ground, so it's all still pretty much in this whole virga situation we were talking about just a little bit earlier. That's not going to really let up anytime soon. Temperature-wise, make sure this is real. So temperature-wise, trying to fall here a little bit. Now that the precipitation has started, it's trying to fall a little bit. Not a lot. And really the only areas that are still at or below freezing are up here in Etowah County, southwestern Etowah County, Blount County, and St. Clair. Got, some of the temperatures are close to freezing. Certainly if you get on up here into Madison County, Limestone, Jackson County, Alabama, you'll run into some sub-freezing temperatures. Really north of the Tennessee River, it looks like, where the sub-freezing stuff is, just above freezing, all the way down into that portion of Winston County. You can see, and then off to the north, that's Limestone, Franklin, Colbert counties, and Marion County, Alabama, just above the freezing mark. And that doesn't mean And let me just make sure. That doesn't mean there's going to be nothing there. I think that's a very good sign there's going to be something there. I think it's a very good sign there's going to be that you combine that with these super low dew point temperatures, and you're set up for 28, 29 degrees when the precipitation starts in these areas. I am so interested to see the physics behind what's about to happen with these super dry dew points and precipitation coming in. I truly think you're looking at some really heavy sleet. This whole setup looks like some really heavy sleet, and I see it with these dew points. If that dew point of 12 is for real, where is that at? That's out at the Shuttlesworth Airport. At the airport, the international airport in Birmingham, it's 37 over 12. That is amazing. 35% relative humidity. 37 over 12, so you go up 22. If you went 10, you'd go up 22. If you went 5, yeah. I can't believe the model. So clouds are at 10,000. I'm sorry, let me do some math here for just a second. Cloud X at 10,000. Don't do that. Oh, 08, 09. So these are the projected temperatures in the morning, right at 5 a.m. That's 11Z. That's going to be 5 a.m. And then 6 a.m. You're still at 31, I think, 32. And it's just a really quick, short amount of time for this to all take place is the deal here. 31, 32. That only goes through 12Z. How did that happen? Again, this is a brand new computer model run that's just come across. Once again, let me just go down to the city, to Birmingham, Alabama, and go forward in time. Initial, we're up to 15. So early tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. it's 31, 7 a.m. 32, and then it just goes nuts warm after that. If you're going to see it, you're going to see it really early in the day tomorrow. You're going to see it super early tomorrow morning. Yeah, I hope you get up. I again suggest putting a life jacket on your children. If you know an adult who's not responsible enough to be outside during a heavy wet snow, I put a life jacket or at least one of those ski belts on them. I'd make sure that they have enough clothing to where they're able to survive when it gets wet. It's just it's still. I don't know how this can't be a super wet sort of a situation. I can come up with 3 hours of frozen stuff in my mind, 3 to 4 hours in Birmingham. I'm going to say 3 max. But I've yet to see a model that didn't have the thermometer getting above freezing. That's 14Z, so you're looking at 8 a.m. It's already above freezing. And so whatever happens really is going to materialize right at daybreak or just before. So making sure that, don't say that I didn't tell you to put a life jacket on your children. Texas snow looking excellent. 2 below. That was a trick question, D.B. Perry, because he did say elected. He didn't say in office. Can you look at Kansas City and what to expect tomorrow? Art, Absolutely. I'd love to look at Kansas City for you tomorrow. Um, let's just do that. Kansas City tomorrow, and a real quick look. It's 29 degrees. We'll just see what the actual weather is going to be tomorrow in Kansas City, and I can come up with snow. There's snow in Kansas City, and it starts now. Pretty much right now. It's light. It's at the edge of this whole thing that's moving out. So it looks like snow is over with at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. 7 a.m. really. Tomorrow morning, snow's finished. It will have passed through the area, and you're left with just a cold day, really. The amount of snow between now and then is somewhat negligible, I think. I think it's going to end up being less than 2 inches. Really, it's calling for about an inch and a half, inch and 3/4 of snow out of what does take place there in Kansas City. Now, it gets really heavy the further south you go into Kansas, into Missouri, and that's where the heavier totals are going to end up being. And just because we didn't do it earlier, I want to look at what the model also believes, because the model was spitting out snow when it did not look like there was going to be a snow amount. It was giving still these huge snow amounts, and it's still producing the sleet that we've been talking about. This is all sleet. The purple area is sleet. I know it's elongated left to right to where you can't really tell where you are, where you live in the state of Alabama. But that is sleet there. That's 5 a.m. sleet. 6 a.m. it's over. Pretty much right in that 6, 7 o'clock. So truly anything that's going to happen is early, and now it's really doing a poo-poo on the snowfall total. I think pretty much for a lot of people, with the exceptions. Oh, yeah, the model's really doing a doo-doo on the snow. Yeah, I mean, it's saying there's some. It's still spitting out some snow. I was afraid that was about to happen. Wade Russell's watching. Lindsay Coker Johnson is watching. Michelle Crane says she'll settle for some sleet there in Warrior over that evil, teasing, hateful, devil-like Virga. Ellen says there's still nothing in Lamar County, and she's still up. Alan Arrington is for some reason up and watching. I still think you get it there, Alan, in Nashville, Tennessee. A couple of people have asked me about Nashville. Let's go look up there and see if the snow is still in the offering there in Nashville. That's a close call, actually. Josie Barnett wants to know how to make snow ice cream, and I kind of want to know too. And since nobody's life's in danger, why don't you tell us? Let's see. Ooh. Now the snow even looks a little difficult. No, there's still snow in Nashville. There's still snow in Nashville, Tennessee. But there's a change to sleet there too. Even late in the day, it goes over to sleet pretty quickly. And I don't think that was foretold. But in Nashville now, I can see you getting somewhere in the neighborhood of... Ooh, that was going to be 6 or 7, and now it's like a 3. Not that much. Nashville, Florence, Jackson, and Bartlett. I know you can't hardly tell because the graphic is so elongated from the left to the right, and Tennessee is not normally that wide, but Freezing rain. No, no freezing rain up there in Tennessee. This is all a snow event for them. They're kind of in that area there that if you wanted, I mean, if you really wanted it to snow, that's where you'd need to be. And that's just kind of what happened overall, or what's going to happen. All right, I'm gonna get a drink of water. You gonna throw up breaded air or something? Nope. Nope. No. It's 55. That's breaded air, who's now he's over in Memphis, and there's some snow beginning to fall there. I don't know if we can hear Brett or not on this particular video, but give me 1 second. I'm going to drink a water and I'll be right back. All right. Once again, now we're back to Brett's video where Heath is probably illegally tailgating somebody again. I feel pretty sure he's actually too close to that car in front of him, but we'll have to let it slide. I think they got the camera on a real long extended sort of a pole there, I think. So it's probably not as close as it actually looks. It's kind of like the deal when you look in your rearview mirror. I don't think that happens anymore. You looked in your rearview mirror and it said objects are not as large as they appear or small as they appear or whatever it used to say. But Heath, you need to turn. Dude, there's an ice storm going on. Don't get so close. Actually, it's a snowstorm. You can see it in those tail lights right there. Maybe that's why he was getting so close. So you could see the snow in the tail lights of the car that is right in front of him. And as you ride along in Memphis, Tennessee tonight, there is snow beginning to fall there in Memphis. The forecast for Memphis was anywhere from 8 to 14 inches about 24 hours ago. It's not there anymore. It is, at this point, kind of moot as to, actually a couple of days ago, the point of how much snow was moot because it really didn't matter at that point. The hype had gotten so big, there was no actual way it was going to live up to the hype. Is that gasoline for $2.45? Holy cow, that's as low as I've seen. It's not that low down here in Florida. Anyway, it's snowing there in Memphis, Tennessee tonight. And it was projected and expected. I don't know if I think it's been snowing long enough. There is some accumulation there on the side of the road. The road is still obviously wet. That is not ice. The road is wet, but snow beginning to fall there in Memphis. Radar kind of backs me up on that. It looks like it's been quite heavy there as far as the precipitation goes in Memphis over the last couple of hours, really beginning to kick in. And this is a great example, by the way, the radar. Actually, that's kind of pretty. Look, here's the deal with the radar. We were talking about just the opposite thing happening in Birmingham. See this donut hole here on the north and eastern side of Memphis, Tennessee tonight? This is the radar, which isn't picking anything up over here because nothing is falling. Everything is evaporating before it gets down to the ground. Just now, over the last 30 minutes, is it beginning to get to the ground because of this. And you can see the radar is actually now seeing it down low to the ground and picking it up. And so visually, we get that confirmation from Bud Adair and Heath Lawler there a few minutes ago. And then at times, it really picks up in what looks to be intensity. And I think this is going to be mixed in with sleet. Sleet oftentimes, because it is a frozen object, the radar beam hits it. And because it's frozen, it comes back very well, over attenuated actually, and is drawn as what looks to be a thunderstorm. But oftentimes, many times, that'll be depicted as sleet. And yeah, that's what the radar is seeing. Look at this. I mean, this is just kind of weird. This is sort of freaky, like a 70s movie. This is showing snow. That's a snow pile. This is a sleet pile with some freezing rain somewhere there in the middle, and then just rain right down there to the south. This is what is referred to as a winter weather mix. I mean, it really looks like I just drew that with a pen. And drew it out that way, but pretty much this is what was, I guess, somewhat forecasted there into the area. Now I got a buddy up here in Jackson, Tennessee, Joel Barnes, who does the weather in Jackson, Tennessee. Joel is probably on the air at the same time, and he's telling people, look, I know there's a big donut hole right here, potato, where nothing is showing up. That's what he's telling his folks. And he's right. And it's going to actually take this stuff that's coming through Memphis at the moment. It's going to take that line going in that direction for him to get any snowfall there in Jackson for tonight. So that's kind of where it is. Diane Baker is reuniting with Dave Coffey. Dave Coffey came onto my page earlier in the night tonight, and he produced so many people coming out of the woodwork to say hello to Dave Coffey. And I've reunited him with another one of his long-lost friends tonight in Diane Baker. And I'm just glad that I can be the conduit for your relationship to be, rekindled here tonight, right here on Live Storms Media's feed tonight. Josie, you get a bowl of clean snow, you pour in a little bit of milk, add some sugar and vanilla, then you eat it fast because it melts fast, says Kimberly Hines. And that's how you make snow cream, ladies and gentlemen. Jerry Lynn Gilliland is watching for tonight. And Josie Barnett is the recipient of that wonderful recipe. And if we had snow, we'd make it, but maybe not. I know it's not going to snow down here in Panama City, Florida. Panama City Beach, Florida. Although, like a week ago, it was actually in the forecast, but it's not. That is not going to happen here. Birmingham radar. Let's go back to the Birmingham radar because anything could have happened down there since the last time I looked. Man, we have developed the Big C at the moment, which is truly just a sight to behold. And all that's really happening here, folks, is what we talked about just a little bit earlier. The radar beam, where this precipitation begins, is at 4,000 feet. That's how far the snow is getting down to the ground before evaporating. So the snow is coming down to about 4,000 feet, but is evaporating into the dry air before it can get on down. That 4,000 feet is what is lacking. It's getting closer to the ground because right there's some precipitation over toward Tuscaloosa that's only 2,000 feet above the surface. The precip is now down to, within 2,000 feet of the surface. And so we've sort of broken that barrier now. Is Sherry Carbo watching tonight at 11:30? Miss Sherry, I was talking with Alan a little bit earlier, and I think of you often. If you had any idea how often I think of you, Miss Cardwell, you and Linda, I don't think a week goes by I don't think of the two of you, and that is so sweet for you to be watching tonight. You just made my heart pound there a little bit. Because I want you to know I loved your daughter very, very, very much. She was just a special person. And I had such great memories with her. I think I told you the story. Some of you may know the name Pat Gray. When I was growing up, Pat Gray was a weather icon in the state of Alabama and a beautiful woman. So when I was a little boy, I wrote Pat Gray, who did the weather at Channel 6 in Birmingham. I wrote her a letter, and I said, look, someday I'm going to marry you. This is true. She remembers it. Someday I'm going to marry you, and I'm going to take your job at Channel 6. And I did one of the two. But later in life, Pat and I continued to be friends, and I used to pick her up and take her to a little get-together that I'd have in Birmingham with some other television anchors, because we often, at other stations, we often did get a chance to talk to each other very often. But Linda Cardwell, who was on the air in Birmingham for a while, she was just a wonderful anchor on the Golf Channel when it first began many, many years ago. And just a wonderful church friend of mine back when I was a child, back living in Gadsden, Alabama. And her mom, I just was popped in and said hello. Brian Bentley is also watching, and Josie Barnett. Kyle Gregg is watching. Sherry, you're killing me here. I know she loved me, and Sherry, I still have email messages between Linda and I. I've never deleted them. I still have them from maybe, I don't know, 2008. So anyway, wow. The Big C, this is a big, the Big C, and that's just, again, that indicator that snow is above the ground. Now down to about 1,800 feet, really. The snow level is down to the surface before it's evaporating. And what's happened in Memphis is now happening in Birmingham and the rest of the area. And what is the radar depiction says all that is, really just, this is cool too. I love these sort of situations because scientifically they're just always so cool. Don't forget, the actual radar site is right there. It's down in Calera, Alabama, where the actual radar is. But what you're looking at now, let me back out just a little bit. What you're looking at is precipitation that shows up all around now, around that radar. There's precipitation on all sides, and can you visualize it now? Because the beam, as it goes in a circle, it's still up at an altitude or showing the phasing up at an altitude that is above the ground. And now it's encircling the actual radar. There's nothing on the ground here, but it is showing precipitation on all sides now. So now the precipitation has overrun the radar aloft, and it's all the way over here into Georgia. The shield of precipitation actually is all the way over here now. It's just not making it down to the ground anywhere yet until I think you get over here. We should be getting some more reports. Yes, Sammy. She did wear a black leotard with Tom York, who I met and got to play golf with, and Mr. Bill Bolin, who I anchored with in Birmingham for many years. Go, you chicken fat, go. Shut up. You remember Go, you chicken fat, go. Does anybody else remember that? Because I used to get up in the morning, and that would be playing before I went to school in the mornings. We're going to dig that up. Hey, Jarvis, you there? Jarvis? Find your mouse. I want you to look up on YouTube and see if you can find Go, You Chicken Fat Go on YouTube. It's going to be old, and it was an exercise deal that we used to do in the mornings before I went to school. And Sammy Gilliland, who is related to my next door neighbor, by the way. Sammy, did you know that? Just brought Go You Chicken Fat Go. Yeah, shut up. Is it on YouTube? Are you kidding? All right, can we play it? Seriously, can we stop for just a second, folks? And we're going to play Country Boy Eddie. You're absolutely right. Can we stop for? Yeah, none of them's going to be HD. We didn't have HD back then. No, I don't want the new version. I need the old version. And it might be in a show called Country Boy Eddie. I know you're not from Alabama, but I'm sorry, guys. I'm talking to somebody. You shouldn't be talking to me without them hearing you. It just... I know, but they should be able to hear you. Anita Rice Parker says hello. Hold on, Sammy. We're going to play Go You Figin' You... Just shut up and play the video. I don't hear anything. I just want them to hear it because there's some people out there who've never heard it. And there's some people who are going to go, oh my God. Yeah, hopefully no commercials play this time. This is what I used to listen to. Many of us did in the state of Alabama right before. You got to play the countdown.
Fried
too.
chicken and
I knew that was
going
to happen.
Teriyaki glaze and an egg roll. So
yeah, go past that. You need to be on my
people
account
think
because I don't have commercials. Here we go. Full screen.
Touchdown every morning, 10 times, not just now and then. Give that chicken fat back to the chicken and don't be chicken again. No, don't be chicken again.
What? Stop.
Touchdown. Every morning.
Stop.
10 times.
Stop. That's not it. The first part was it. Somebody sped it up because they thought they were funny. And that's not funny. It's chicken fat. It's not supposed to be played that way. The first part was great. The first part was my childhood. That's upsetting that somebody had to do that, speed it up in order. Anyway, maybe you saw, maybe some of you remembered that from when we were kids. I dropped my pen. Hold on. Go, you chicken fat, go. I don't know, are you allowed to say go, you chicken fat anymore? That might not be a good thing. I hope that brought back a few memories for some of you. And thank you so much, Sammy, for mentioning that. Because I had totally forgotten about that. Where were we? Yeah, amazing memories. That was wild. I think I'm going to start my show with that from now on. Go, you chicken fat, go. Hey, Siri. Remind me to call my show Go You Chicken Fat Go from now on. Thank you. She did. So anyway, back to the radar. It's filling up. It's really filling up now. It's getting closer. I got to believe over here now in Fayette, probably. Oh, I would think. I know everybody has probably sort of fallen off to sleep out in the west. Let's see. Who's awake over there that we could call? We'd call the sheriff's department in Vernon. I used to know a guy there. Hey, Adam, how are you tonight? Adam McDowell's watching. Ellen, thank you, Ellen. So it's snow. There are snowflakes there in Lamar County. Ellen Morrison, our weather watcher. Ellen Morrison over in Lamar County, Alabama, has reported our first snowflakes of the night in Lamar County. Is it snow, actually? Ellen, is there any way you can flip a light on and take me a little video, maybe, and send it to me in Messenger? Do you know how to send me something in Messenger? If you could do that, I would owe you a big debt. In Millport, I think I said Vernon, I'm sorry. In Millport. They're in southern Lamar County, so it was, that tells me a lot, especially if it's all snow, Ellen. If that's snow, that's pretty important, because I've been really waiting to get a report of what was actually going to fall. And if that is actually snow tonight, that's going to be surprising to me. And surprising to the radar, because the radar doesn't really have it as snow. It has it as rain. She says very few of them are snowflakes. And I'm sorry, Ellen, we're doing this. I'm interviewing you over the internet here. But can you tell me, is it just if you look on a surface or anything outside? Can you tell if it's just snowfall, or is there like liquid mixed in with the snowflakes? Like a rain and a snow mix of some sort? Because, again, that's going to be the huge factor is places back to the west, like Lamar County, like Pickens County, whatever they start reporting, that's what can move into Birmingham as we move along, because that was sort of the same atmosphere there for a little while. I think probably the two would be a pretty good idea between the two of the way things might look. Very few, she says. I'll tell you what's wild is I'm also watching the CC, the way it is interpreting my southern drawl, closed captioning, and it's not doing a very good job, or I'm not talking very plainly. That's also very possible that I'm not speaking very clearly. That's wild, because the radar doesn't think that's snow. The radar out of GWX believes that is rain falling there in Millport, Alabama tonight. So it is super confused with the rest of us. Yeah, if you look at it, it claims that it's rain, 22 decibels of rain falling in Millport, Vernon, Alabama, and it really doesn't mix until you get over here in Mississippi, up toward Tupelo and the rest of that area. And then the snow appears to be pretty heavy back here into Memphis at the moment. Even that just looks like a horrible, horrible mess. I wish this thing would make up its mind what it wants to be when it grows up. That would be driving me insane. Now I got chicken fat on my mind. Go, you chicken fat. Brandy Hunter. Hello, Brandy. How are you? And by the way, Jarvis, I had asked Brett to text me, and then I realized I have my text turned off because I didn't want it to show up on my iPad. Can you text him? Because I asked him to speak to us or forever hold his peace. And he said he would speak to us. He said what? I know. Take me off. Let me text him. Take me off for a second. Let me text him because we really need to talk to him. Or you can play chicken fat again if you just need to. Give me 1 sec. Oh. He has a problem. Judy Jackson is watching. Brandy Hunter is watching. Ellen says she went outside and she does believe that it is sleet mixed with rain in Lamar County. So Ellen is over there, sleet mixed with rain in Lamar County, Alabama. Yeah, and it kind of looks that way. I see the. Go back to the radar here if you can, Jarvis. And I see what she's talking about. Sleet mixed with rain. Kind of got all forms of that right through there. Again, the radar thinks that's sleet, and it's probably mixed in with the rainfall. But Ellen is right there in Millport, Alabama, Highway 17, just outside of Togi and Kennedy, Alabama. So from Millport, she's going to bed. Ellen says she's going to bed. She's had enough of being the weather watcher thing, and she's clocking out. So I really appreciate that. Brandy Hunter is with us. Feels so special. Brandy says, I crushed on you for years. You said my name on air. Did I say your name on air, or did I just say your name just now, Brandy? That's very sweet of you. Sammy Gilliland says that chicken fat is on my wall. So that's cool. Becky Gann Johnson is watching. Becky Gann is very good. And Ellen says she can see the sleet laying on the hood of her pickup. And that's what I think you're going to get. I think you're going to get a lot of that overnight tonight and the early part of the morning tomorrow. So that's kind of what I would expect. Now, tell you what. Jarvis, how are you feeling? That's enough. Tell you what, folks, we kind of got started here. I think what we're going to do is take a break because nothing's going to happen rapidly, and I really feel like the majority of it's going to happen during the overnight hours tonight, and probably as we get into 3, 4, and if you go to bed now, you'll realize by 4 or 5 what's going to happen, if it's going to happen for you or not, and how it's going to be. And just one more quick look at what the modeling says as far as that goes, and we'll again kind of look at the HRR model. I'm pretty reliant on that tonight because I kind of feel like I understand what it's trying to say. And it says it better than I can in words, actually. But if we move forward in time here, and we go into 03 is old. Hold on. That's better. So going through time, one last look at everything here, and this is the radar imagery, what the radar would look like. At 2 a.m., there's the sleet mix into Birmingham. At 3 a.m., the sleet blob gets bigger. At 4 a.m., there's sleet, according to this, all the way down to Montgomery, Columbus, LaGrange, Georgia, is a little bit of a sleet deal. And right there's a Birmingham snow moment. I mean, it's there. I don't really know why, but stuck in the middle of all that is a Birmingham snow moment, which could be the opportunity for white, for this all to come out looking a little more like a snowfall in the end. Sorry, that got away from me. There goes the snow off to the north. And I truly think there's going to be an hour of a pocket of 2-inch an hour snow somewhere. It just doesn't last. And by 7 o'clock in the morning, the majority of it is over. And I'm afraid that's where the winter storm Snowmageddon 2024 is out the door. And I'm not going to say I told anybody so, but if you go back and look at my Facebook, this was somewhat inevitable. If you go back even 5 days ago, I think this was inevitable, and I really felt like it all that time. This was not the big snow machine that everybody wanted it to be, and that all those graphics that came out were predicting. It just didn't feel right, knowing warm air was going to be a player in this thing. But I hate it. I hate it for those who, again, wanted to see snow, and you still may, but I hate it for those who thought it was going to be a chance for your kids to go out and play in the snow, because I don't see that hardly at all. Unless you send them out there with a life jacket on, I swear to God, this is going to be the wettest. If it's snowing, it's going to be the wettest snowfall that it can possibly be. Each flake's going to weigh 500 pounds and just be... Tell your children not to look up. Just don't do it. Kimberly says she's going to be up at 4 a.m. She's going to see what's happening. If there's snow, she's going to message me and send me a picture or two, or maybe a video to my messenger. Kimberly, please do that. I'd love to get that. And I really appreciate it. Alan Large is awake tonight. Alan, it's good to see you, brother. Brandy Hunter says, you said my name just now, and that meant on air to me, Brandy. That's very sweet of you. I really appreciate that, and thank you for checking in tonight. So we may start this up again early tomorrow morning on my Facebook page. I can do that without going abroad, but appreciate you being with us for this so far, and we're going to check out for now. And during the day tomorrow, again, if you'll send me your pictures or videos, I'll be glad to share them, whether or not I do like a live stream kind of a thing. And it may not even be needed at this point. The reason I did this tonight was because I thought maybe it happened soon enough to where some of you in West Alabama could send in pictures and videos, and we'd even decided we wanted to talk to some of you live. We'd figured out a way for you to do that on Messenger, and I'd love to be able to do that sort of a thing, because I always appreciate hearing from all of you folks. I've been away from Birmingham for a long, long time, so anytime one of you says something or mentions that we knew each other, it makes me beam, and that's very, very cool. Makes me feel good way down here. And I was way out in Denver, Colorado, and then being down here in Panama City Beach, which you come and see me, and love to have a glass of sweet tea with you at some point. Dana Pennington is watching. Scott Gallops is watching. Jeffrey Scott Gallops. Jennifer Taylor is watching. Terry Lynn Cohen says, school was called. You're welcome, Terry. Great to talk to you tonight and see you tonight, and appreciate all the comments. All right, we're going to sign out, and I'm going to blame all the operational stuff on Brandon Jarvis, who helped me for tonight. He always does, and he's a super great guy. I'm just sorry he didn't speak more tonight. I promise he's there. He's not just my imaginary friend. He's a real person. And so for now, thank you for watching LSM TV. And I'm David, and talk to you sometime tomorrow for sure. Good night.